Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. Good morning. Welcome to our May 15th, 2025 special magistrate hearing for the Building Division. Everyone, may I have your attention up front, please? Thank you. At this time, we're going to start our hearing. Welcome. If there's anyone who wishes to speak at today's proceedings, please stand and raise your right hand. People in the line, you can raise your right hand also. Do you swear and affirm to tell the truth at today's proceedings? Thank you. You all may be seated. At this time, please silence all of your devices. And we ask that if you have to have conversations, please step outside. This room tends to pick up a lot of feedback, and we need to have it quiet as possible because we're being recorded, okay? Our first case is on page 32, Senior Inspector Alexander Borges. Property address 200 South Birch Road, owner Leisure Beach Association, Inc. Case number BE 2303-0194. This case was first heard on 5/18/23 to comply by 6/15/23. One section not complied at $100. There are several extensions listed.
Good morning, everyone. Alexander Alvarez, Building Inspector for the city, updating you on case number and address is read. Case is not complied. Property was cited for violation of FBC section 116.1 for unsafe balconies and violation of city ordinance 9-280C for the deterioration of the balconies. This turned out to be a big project. They've been very cooperative, and it's been over a year now, but they are at the final stages, and the respondent is here to provide additional update.
Okay. Please state your name for the record.
My name is Forrest Fawcett.
Push the button.
My name is Forrest Fawcett. I am on the board of directors at Leisure Beach.
Okay. Can you give me a status, Mr. Fawcett?
The status would be that the work is pretty much completed. All construction equipment is off the premises. We are doing a punch list, and then we expect to close permits and close everything out with the city. I respectfully ask for 180 days to make sure everything is complete so we can wipe this off the books in one more visit.
Okay. City's position? On
No objection.
Okay. All right. So according to, 180 days, and I'll suspend the fines during that time.
Thank you, Your Honor. I hope you all have a great day.
Thank you.
Our next case, excuse me, Senior Inspector Jose Saragusi on page 28. Property address 3300 Northeast 37th Street. Owner Guy Florent. Case number BE 2409000900. This case was first heard on 9/19/24 to comply by 9/19/24. One section complied at $100. Total fines $15,300. The fines were imposed on 2/20/25.
Good morning, Building Inspector Inspector Saragusti, on behalf of the city, presenting the case as read. The case is complied. The city is recommending to impose the fine. Sorry, we need to vacate the order and impose fines of February 2025 and reimpose $15,300. I will let the respondent to speak.
Okay, how much was that? I'm sorry.
$15,300.
Okay, we're vacating a prior order. That's not on my docket.
Diana, am I vacating a prior order here?
Yes, that's what he's asked for,
Okay,
and then he's will reimposed, right?
Correct, yeah.
okay. All right, please state your name for the record.
Peter Snyder on behalf of Guy Florent, the owner of the property, and Mr. Florent is here. But what I'd like to do is just review a little bit of the case as to understanding why we're here today. So I came here, and this is my first visit here, was on September 19th, 2024. And at that time, it was recommended that the fines be imposed at $100 a day from that date forward, which is the order that's being vacated that imposed the $15,300. However, after that was the position, then the city attorney stated that it was a violation of due process to start imposing fines without notice. And this is what she said, because I have notes from that day. She said it was 63 days to vacate or impose $50 a day until the CO issued. And those 63 days would have put us on the November 21st docket. But we did not get a notice for the November 21st docket, and we came the next time on February 20th. And on February 20th, we did not have the CO, but we got it that same day because everything was in compliance. Now, why did it take to February 20th to get the CO? The reason was because when Mr. Florent went back to the city, they said he needed to submit a final survey with elevations, which he did. And then after that, they said he needed a variance. So this went on until the end of January, that the city was taking the position that he needed to get a variance because the open permit was from 2015, and it was now in violation of the current setbacks. But the foundation had been laid. The foundation had been laid back in, I don't know, I think 2018 or 2017, and had been approved. So, then after, ultimately they decided he didn't need a variance. So then he went to close out the permits, and that's why it was closed out on February 20th. So, in light of what's happened, we would say, maybe to mitigate, I know that he would qualify for the mitigation program to just impose the fine of 10% of what's being recommended.
That's, if you go through the amnesty program, he'll only have to pay 10%. So.
Right, but I'm just saying that let's short circuit that and just do it today, and he'll pay within 10 days.
What's the city's position on that?
I didn't hear what the proffer was, Your Honor, because I was looking at the phone.
What he said was that they could go through amnesty and get it reduced to 10%, or I can enter an order for 10% today, and they would be in agreement with that.
Well, part of, Your Honor, no, we would object to that. And for the record, Ronald Montoya Hassan with the City Attorney's Office. Lien amnesty is 10% plus all administrative costs.
Okay.
In this case, just to also give some background, the property was being occupied without a certificate of occupancy, which is a life safety issue. So there was a two-part order to the case, which one was to vacate the property immediately, and then two, to obtain the certificate of occupancy. Understand counsel's point with regard to, the variance issue. That's part of the problem when a property owner waits 10 years before you getting a certificate of occupancy on a permit from 2015.
I think it's 2018. I may have misspoke. I don't.
Well, you said, I'm using what you said.
Yeah, I know. I think
Okay.
I misspoke. I have another case with a 2015.
Okay, so it's either 2018 or 2015. I guess it's fluid in terms of when the permit was originally obtained. But again, several hearings and such, so we would not oppose a reduction. But again, lien amnesty provides the capturing also of all city administrative costs, and the property and any other property the gentleman may own in Broward County have to be in full compliance in order to be eligible for lien amnesty. And I'm not aware, does your client own other property in Broward?
There's no other property. This one had 2 other open permits that have all been closed out for today. And that's it. That's his only property. So, you know, but the point that I was trying to make was that there is a due process issue about imposing a fine, from what I understand from what the city attorney said at the September hearing, to start to impose a fine. Without notice, which is what the city attorney said at that hearing.
Okay, well, that would have been me, because I'm the only city attorney senior assistant city attorney that sits at these hearings, number one. Number two, I don't see in the file that there was an effort to impose an immediate hearing. An immediate fine. We don't do that. We hold massey hearings. There's evidence of that in the file.
There was supposed to be a hearing in November that never took place before you imposed the fine.
The fine was imposed in February.
Okay, but the notice of the fine, where's the notice that it was going to be imposed? There's no order in giving notice.
There is notice in the file, and the property, the Massey notice is in the file, Your Honor. Here it is.
Was that sent to the?
I don't understand if the fine was imposed on February 20th, and that was the day that the property came into compliance. How did we incur $15,000?
I'm confused also, Your Honor, and they were actually here on February 20th. The attendance sheet notes that they were here.
Yeah, we were here, but the fine was imposed without notice back to September 19th. It says it in the order. And that's what I'm saying, that this is the whole point. There was no notice that there was going to be a fine imposed, and that's not my argument. That's the argument at the September hearing that we had, was that it was unfair to impose a fine without notice. And then we come on February 20, and there was supposed to be another docket on November 21 to impose the fine, to give notice of the fine. And that didn't take place, and then
we don't have, sir, we don't have hearings to notice of fine being imposed. You either have a notice for a violation that it's heard, you have, as the prior hearing, updated notices of hearing, and the Massey hearing, which was the imposition of the fine, was in February. So can we just pass this and let me take a look at the file? I'm not understanding what has occurred.
We're going to call you back
Okay.
as soon as she has a chance to review the file.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Our next case is on page 33. Senior Inspector Alexander Boris. Property address 2300 Northeast 33rd Ave. Owner Everglades Club Condo Association, Inc. Case number BE 2409-0098. This case was first heard on 3/20/25 to comply by 5/15/25. One section not complied at $150.
Alexander Alvarez, Building Inspector for the city, updating you on case number and address is read. The case is not yet complied. Property was cited for violation of City Ordinance 9-280B. They are building parts which are deteriorated and not maintained. Cracks on the concrete ceiling visible from the ground floor parking garage on the east side of the building. And water intrusion from the second floor patio appears to be penetrating to the concrete slab and leaking into the parking garage. There's also water intrusion in the north stairwell. The association has been in communication. We received a digitally signed seal letter from ACG Engineering Services, signed by Henry S. Gray, Florida PE number 39539, Special Inspector number 736. And the letter does mention that the items noted above nor any of the area inspected represent a threat to current structural integrity of the property structure. Therefore, the building can be safely inhabited with no threats of to persons or property. The association president is here to provide an additional update and make a request.
Okay, please state your name for the record. You just shut the microphone off. It was on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if the red light's on, folks, the microphone's on.
Thank you. I'm Esther Schumann. I'm the president of the Everglades Club Association, Condo Association, and I'm here to...
Okay, speak into the microphone.
Yeah, I'm Esther Schumann. I'm the president of the Everglades Club Condominium Association.
Okay, and what is the current status? What progress has been made?
The engineer has drawn the plans. We've sent out the bids. We will sign the contract and assign somebody to start the work. The permits will be done. The estimated time we need is about 126 days extension.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that agreeable?
Yeah, city supports a 126-day extension and mandatory reappearance 126 days from now.
Okay. All right, so I'll grant you a 126 days extension. We'll suspend the fines during that time, and you will reappear on my September 18th docket.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Our next case is on page 25. Inspector Andrew Gebbia, property address 240 Southwest 14th Ave. Owner Anastasia Bieberhausen, case number BE24030137. This case was first heard on 7/18/24 to comply by 9/19/24. One section complied at $50. Total accrued fines $8,200. The city is requesting to reduce to administrative costs.
Andrew Gebbia, building inspector for the city, presenting case and address is read. This case is complied. The city is requesting the fines be reduced to administrative costs, which are $900.
Okay. Please state your name for the record.
Good morning, Your Honor. Ryan Ratliff. I'm the owner of the property. That is an alias deed, so the unusual name. I'm here with the AC install, and I appreciate that, Mr. Gebbia.
Are you in agreement with the reduction to city cost of $900?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Our next case is on page 34. Senior Inspector Alexander Boris, property address 3250 Northeast 28th Street, case number BE23060035. Owner Les Circle by the Beach Condo Association, Inc. This case was first heard on 1/16/25 to comply by 3/20/25. Fine suspended as noted. One section not complied at $50.
Alexander Boris, building inspector for the city, updating you case number and address is read. Case is not yet complied. Property was cited for violation of City Ordinance 9-280B. There are building parts which are deteriorated and not maintained. This is specific to the pool equipment room in disrepair, including concrete spalling, electrical, and swing metal door frame. The association representative is here to provide an update.
Please state your name for the record, who's ever going to be speaking.
Hi, my name's Melissa, and I'm the president of the Circle by the Beach.
Okay, you need to state your last name as
Oh,
well.
Melissa Lepore.
Okay, Ms. Labor, what is the status of the property? What progress has been made?
So the progress has been made as we've submitted necessary permits. We've had zoning, engineering, electrical, mechanical have all been approved. Department of Health has submitted the letter of approval as well. There were 3 questions that were replied back by administrative provisions that we submitted the DOH letter, and then questions for our engineer regarding our pool backfill, which we already have. So we feel that we have the necessary permits in order to destroy the pool house, which is our goal. So we're asking for the 180-day extension in order to remove that.
Any objection from the city?
Well, city supports 63-day extension. They should be able to get the permit. I think that's a reasonable time to get this completed. This will be a final extension.
Okay. I am going to give you the 63 days. If you run into a problem, you can contact the inspector and request an additional time, but you should be able to get it
Well,
done.
there's a lot of components running around that building,
Okay, well,
lots. Like the cooling tower.
yes, you're going to have to state your name for the record.
Oh, I'm Wendy Darling, I'm the property manager.
Okay, all right.
There's just a lot
Okay.
of components running through and around that, so it's gonna be a little tricky.
Okay.
So,
Well, I'm sure
I can
you're up to the task.
Okay.
All right, thank you very
Thanks.
much.
Thank you.
Alex, you're going to have the next 2 cases on page 33, okay?
Pardon me?
Oh, the inspector.
Okay.
If you've signed in and you have a case with Inspector Saragusti, it's just going to be a moment until he wraps things up outside. My apologies. Our next case is on page 33. Property address 3051 Northeast 47th Court. Owner Wayne House Association, Inc. Case number BE 23080031. This case was first heard on 11/21/24 to comply by 1/16/25. Fine suspended as noted. One section not complied at $50.
Alexandra Perez, Building Inspector for the city, updating you on case number and address is read. A case is not complied. Property was cited for violation of City Ordinance 9-280C, deteriorated porches, balconies, included but not limited to steel columns in disrepair. The attorney's here today to provide an update.
Good morning. Please state your name for the record.
Good morning, Paul Milberg. I'm General Counsel for Wayne House.
Okay.
Since the last hearing, the Board of Directors for Wayne House went through multiple bids. This is a very extensive project. I'm not going to belabor the history of the property. I've done that several times, but after speaking with Inspector Alboris, I think we're on the same page. But we went through multiple bids. They selected a contractor, came to me. I negotiated the revisions in the contract, and it was signed. We sent it to Inspector Alboris last night, along with our prior engineer's letter saying the property is safe for inhabitation currently.
Okay, how long do you think it's going to take?
We were here to ask for 180 days, but after speaking with Inspector Alboris, he explained the city's position, which was 126 days.
126 days. City supports.
Upon speaking with him, I understand the city's position, and we would abide by that if it
Okay,
would be ordered.
126 days, and I'll suspend the fine during that time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Inspector.
Thank you.
Our next case is also on page 33 at the top. Property address 1612 Southwest 12th Court. Owner Ryan and Christina Tucker. Case number BE 24040093. This case was first heard on 1/16/25 to comply by 5/15/25. One section not complied at $50.
Alexandra Perez, Building Inspector for the city, updating you on case number and address is read. The case is not complied. Property was cited for violation of Florida Building Code 2023, Section 105.1 for work without permit, including but not limited to addition, carport enclosure, exterior door alteration to accessory structure, including roof structure replacement, The respondent is here to speak.
Please state your name for the record.
Good morning, Ryan Tucker. I'm the property owner.
Okay, Mr. Tucker, what progress has been made and where are we?
Yes, so since the last time we met, we did submit for the permits. We received comments back basically saying we needed more extensive plans. We did contract with an engineering firm to do that. They came out and took measurements. Basically, we tried keeping in touch with them day after day. They assured us they were working on it. About 2 months in, basically said the project was not big enough for them to keep. So then they recommended us to another party who we have since contracted with. They have taken the measurements and have assured us that by May 21st in our contract, they should have those plans completed. I did update Inspector Alvarez last week about that, and he did suggest that we might be able to do a 63-day extension based on that May 21st time that they get back to us, and then any revisions we need further from there.
Okay.
City supports one final 63-day extension.
Okay, so ordered, and we'll suspend the fines during that time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next case is on page 29. Chief Martinez, property address 1000 Southeast 4th Street, owner Riverview Garden Apartments Condo Association, Inc., case number BE 2307-0139. This case was first heard on 1/18/24 to comply by 2/29/24. One section not complied at $100. The city is requesting to impose the full amount of $7,600, which continues to accrue.
Good morning, Your Honor. Chief Martinez, representing the city, case and address as read. The case is not in compliance. The BSIP revised report hasn't been submitted. City is requesting to impose the fines.
Okay. Please state your name for the record.
So I'm Kevin Dubray with Hillman Engineering. We're the engineering firm working on the property right now.
Oh, yeah, press the button.
Oh, sorry.
Go back, yeah.
You're good now.
Hello. So I'm Kevin Dubray with Hillman Engineering, and with me is Bob Lang. He's the president of the association, and I wasn't sure what you just said. So
The revised report hasn't been submitted.
the revised report. Okay.
Yeah, with no repairs required.
Oh, with the no. Oh, okay. So the association has been doing multiple projects. And we have 2 permits now currently pulled. They've done the entire roof of their property, which was one of the items on the report, had to be redone. And they also had some electrical on the report that was being done. So they've been ongoing and pulling those permits for that. And we're just a couple days out because they just completed the roof. We have to close the permit, obviously, for the roof. But then beyond that, they're going to have to do quite a bit of work, not only that we pointed out in the report, but also that they've chosen to do based on our recommendations. And we're just waiting for a final contract. The bid process already started. The drawings are created, so we just need to get into the permitting for that. We're requesting an extension for that purpose and to continue the work associated with the property.
Unfortunately, in order for us to grant that extension, it has to be an issue permit, and the permit is in the process. That's what we hear now.
Well, we have several permits, so that have been opened in response to this, to the property.
Is any permit issued at this moment? Because if it was a permit issue, you should provide us with a letter requesting the extension. And I think that we're here because there was no issue permit. That's what Broward County Court of Appeals rules states that you have to provide us a letter requesting an extension with an issue permit.
Right.
That's the problem why we're here today.
Okay. So I think we can hopefully we can resolve that right here. And then I think we provided the letter, and I think we just didn't highlight the permits that were
you provide a letter with a permit application, no with an issue permit. That was the issue here.
Oh, okay. Because the letter we just had submitted basically just said that the building was safe for occupancy. and that there were no...
That's part of the requirements for us to grant an extension, but you have to provide us with a letter stating that there is an issue permit, the permit number and the letter, and requesting the extension. What I recommend you to do, Your Honor, today, the city requests is impose the fines. As soon as the permit is issued, provide us a letter, and we hold the fines. We stop the fines to continue to accrue as soon as you receive the issue permit.
So we actually have 2 issued permits, so all I have to do is probably, I should provide the letter stating, one of them is not only issued, but we're ready to close it out for that same property for the roof permit, and then we also have an electrical permit that has been issued, and that we are in the process of the work right now. So would you give me just a few days to give you that letter with the permits that were actually issued for the property?
Your Honor, city is requesting to impose the fines. If that's correct, which I believe that's what we hear, because they couldn't provide us, the request with an issue permit, then we'll bring the case back and we vacate the order. But today we're going to impose the fines. Okay. We request them to impose the fines.
All right. This report and the permit is part and parcel together. You have to, when you do this in your report, state what permits you have. Then the fines will stop. Otherwise, they continue to accrue, okay? So I'm going to impose the fines, but if you get your report in today, they'll stop, okay?
All right, so we'll get the report in today to you stating the permits that have been pulled for the property, and basically we won't get accrued any fines if we submit that today.
Issue permits. You provide us a letter stating the permits that are issued, requesting your extension, and then the fine will stop right there.
Okay, so essentially everything's been submitted except we didn't include those permits. So but the permits were pulled at the time we submitted the letter, so I guess we just didn't highlight them.
What we received was that the building is safe to be continued occupied during the repair. That's the only thing that we received from you guys.
Well, I would just request, if it's okay, it doesn't seem, I have the permit numbers right here, so they've been issued, they've been supplied. One of them is ready to be
provided with the letter. Provided with the letter, and when we revisit the case.
No, I understand, but I was just kind of saying if you just delayed that fine process for the next 2 days or 3 days, then we would be able to issue the letter, and there would be no reason to do anything but grant the extension, I guess. We have the permits. I have the permit numbers right here that can be verified.
Will he get an extension then automatically?
After he provides the letter stating the permits and requesting the extension, then we kind of stop the fines.
Okay, all right. The fines, some fines have already accrued. You'll have to come back and address them, but as long as you're diligent, we'll work with you on what's already accrued, okay? But you need to, as soon as possible, get a supplemental report, include the permit numbers, and then you'll be in compliance and you will be able to be granted an extension, okay?
That is okay. My only concern here is that the owner, they have been as diligent as they can be. They've actually been paying for the work. They've completed an entire roof project. I don't know how that's going unnoticed with the city, that all this work is taking place. Permits have been issued. And I don't know why any fines would have accrued so far.
But you have to go through a process of documentation that hasn't been done yet. So that's what I need you to do, okay?
Are you the engineer, sir?
Yes, we're the engineer.
So you're not familiar with the 40-year program?
We are familiar with the 40-year. That's all we do is a 40-year program.
Well, this is, what the city is asking for is the BORA, Board of Rules and Appeals standard, the timeframes, the ability to give an extension. That's all been established by BORA now several years ago, so this shouldn't come as a surprise to you.
Well, it doesn't come as a surprise to me. I knew that we had the permits issued, and I just didn't know that with the permits issued, that I was under the assumption you knew the permits were issued, considering they were pulled for that property. And I suppose that's not the case, so we'll issue a separate letter. This is the second time I've been here. I think
Well, you probably were told the same thing
No,
last time.
for a different, I'm just, I'm leaving course here for a minute, but
Okay.
we can provide the letter. It's just an updated letter, and I don't know why the fines have to be imposed while you're waiting for a letter on permits. that have already been-
you didn't provide the letter before we got to this point.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
simple.
All right. You will get a chance to address the fines or go through the amnesty program, which reduces it to 10%. So just follow the process and get it done properly, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
At this time, we're going to recall the case on page 28. Senior Inspector Jose Saragusti, property address 3300 Northeast 37th Street.
So, Your Honor, apologies to you and to the audience for the seeming confusion on this case. I've spoken with staff and spoken with counsel, and I believe we have an agreement to resolve the case. If
Yes.
counsel would like to.
Yeah, we would agree to an order of a $3,000 fine.
Good thinking. That's what I was going to propose. All right. So
I saved you the trouble. I said it first.
yes.
Yes. So that will resolve the
The
case.
city recommend reducing the fines, recommending to reduce the fine at $3,000.
Right. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, counsel.
Our next case is on page 24, Chief Martinez, property address 609 Breakers Ave, number 1T, owner FCP Cottage LLC, case number CE 141-00405. Nope, I'm sorry, I'm reading the wrong case. That's Jorge Martinez. I called the wrong, I'm reading the right case, but I called the wrong person. Senior Inspector Jorge Martinez. This case was first heard on 4/16/15 to comply by 6/4/15. One section complied at $50. Total accrued fines, $169,800. The city is requesting to abate fines. He's not here?
Yeah, he's coming.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, presenting case as read. This case is complied, and the city is asking for all fines to be abated.
Okay, please state your name for the record.
Linda Ascari.
Okay, I'm assuming you're in agreement with the abatement of fines.
Yes, ma'am, we are.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Our next case is a new business case on page 8, Senior Inspector Jose Saragusti, property address 1680 Southwest 32nd Court, owner Magalid Schreiber, case number BE 24080245, notice posted at the property on 4/4/25, notice posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard, 5/1/25. Page 27, Senior Inspector Jose Saragusti, property address 1705 Southwest 14th Street. Owner Virginia Hornaday, Virginia 2 Hornaday Revocable Trust. Case number BE 24040082. This case was first heard on 10/17/24 to comply by 1/16/25. One section complied at $50. Total accrued fines, $4,850. The city is requesting to reduce to administrative cost of $1,038.
Inspector Saragusti, on behalf of the city, presenting the case as read. The case is in compliance. The city is recommending an administrative cost of $1,038. I will let the respondent to speak.
Please state your name for the record.
Virginia Hornaday.
Okay, are you in agreement with the reduction of fines to administrative costs?
I was wondering if there is any possibility we could void the administrative costs. I complied completely. There was only delays because of the contractors that had to be replaced. So I was hoping that originally the contractors would stand up and do what they were supposed to do from the beginning, but that wasn't the case. So we had to kind of start all over again. But we got everything fully complied with permits now.
Anything else from the city?
The admin, I don't know, the admin cost is $1,038. What do you are thinking to pay?
I would just like some leniency on that because I've now since retired and I'm on a fixed income. This has been my house 20 years, so I'm doing the best to keep it up to standard so I can retire and live there.
Okay, anything else? No. All right, I'll reduce it to $800.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next, Jose, you have the next two cases. They're on page 28. Our next case is on page 28, property address 2680 Northwest 21st Court. Owner, Mabel J. McCoy, case number BE 2406-0170. This case was first heard on 2/20/25 to comply by 3/6/25, two sections not complied.
Inspector Saragusti, on behalf of the city, presenting the case as read. The city is requesting to withdraw this case.
To what?
Withdraw. Yes.
Our next case is also on page 28, property address 2680 Northwest 21st Court, case number BE 2409-0177. Owner, Mabel J. McCoy.
She has a second case.
This case was first heard on 2/20/25 to comply by 4/17/25. One section not complied at $100. The city is requesting to impose the full amount of $2,700, which continues to accrue.
Inspector Saragusti, on behalf of the city, presenting the case as read. The case is not complied. The city is requesting to impose a fine of $2,700, and I will let the respondent to speak.
Please state your name for the record.
Yes, my name is Lavinia Lewis. I would like to know, what does she need to do to the property to bring it into compliance? What all is necessary? Because
I told her the last time she was here.
Yes.
That she needed to get a certificate of occupancy for a boarding house.
Yes.
Because it was found.
Yes.
In previous hearings that that there was an illegal boarding house happening there.
Yes.
I gave her time and time again.
Yes.
To get that certificate.
Yes, and she went over to the city by the park to get the certificate or see what was needed to get the certificate of occupancy, and they told her to go get an attorney. So what is needed for the certificate of occupancy?
I would like to add, I returned to the property last week.
Yes.
That we agree with that.
Right.
With the police department, Stilani, and senior building inspector Jorge Martinez. We tried to inspect the property and it was denied. She told me that the property will sell. I let him know that the property anyway will maintain the violation and the fines will be accruing.
And the realtor was present as well.
Yes,
I was here.
of course,
Yes.
yes.
It was
And
me.
also, I give them a note that with the two cases and that they need to repair or comply in order to close the cases. I give them a letter,
Yes.
but still asking what do they need to do. This is the issue.
Well, I'm asking about the certificate of occupancy. I have read his letter, what he left, what he gave at the house. I understand that. I'm asking today regarding the certificate of occupancy that she tried to go get, and they would not talk to her. So I'm here, I'm just trying to find out what is needed to get the certificate of occupancy. I understand, I agree, everything you said. I saw you Friday, so I'm not denying any of that.
So, ma'am, and again, for the record, Ronald Montoya Hassan with the City Attorney's Office, it would be highly unusual for a clerk at a window, if you're asking what requirements are needed to obtain a certificate of occupancy for a boarding house, to say you have to get an attorney.
Yes.
I've never heard that. Do you have a name of that person who said
Do you
that?
have the name of that person?
Love to know.
Which, is that the clerk name that's on? That clerk name, no, that paper. Okay. I'm going over there myself today.
I would suggest that. I mean, this is really, this isn't really the forum to go over all of the code requirements.
Okay.
I was going to say, our assistant building official is here. Perhaps he can give you his card. We're going to go look for him.
Okay.
Because, again, this isn't really the forum to discuss all of the code requirements that are specific to boarding house. But again, obviously, an attorney isn't needed, and you would know that as a realtor, right?
Yes.
To apply for a certificate of occupancy. An attorney's really not needed for anything, for variances. You can always appear by yourself or someone else.
Go over there when I leave here.
So we'll get you the card.
I let him know that they will need a set of plans from the property.
Yes.
Starting with that, it's necessary that.
Yes.
At the
We have
beginning.
that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
We have
again,
that already.
I never saw that one.
So the fines are going to continue to run until that certificate of occupancy
I
is
totally
issued.
understand
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
yeah. And here's our assistant building official. He'll give you his card and can direct you to the best person to assist you on the requirements.
Today we will impose the
Yeah,
fines.
but yes,
correct?
she
Just a little update. Joe Pasquarello, assistant building official. Mrs. McCoy did stop by the building department about a week and a half ago, where she sat with myself and the building official, Luis Hernandez, and she advised if we're just being, that she would need a CO, and perhaps, hire an attorney would give her guidance on the legal process. But so she had agreed, and the meeting was rather short. So I'm not sure if that update helps any.
Well, I mean, she needs to know what she has to do to comply. That's something that needs to come from the city,
Yes.
okay?
So she would need to submit drawings and then request the change of use.
Okay, all right. If she's going to continue to maintain the boarding house?
Correct.
Okay. If she decides not to maintain the boarding house and everyone moves out, she doesn't need that, is
Correct.
that right?
Correct. And I believe there's some property maintenance or issues. I think there's some, it's unsafe.
Yeah, but we don't know about that because she won't let us into the property.
Correct,
So-
correct.
Oh, no, but you've been in the property several times.
No,
Because he has
when
been-
she was in front of me last time,
Yes.
okay, because there was some confusion, and she does this. She tells me she doesn't know what she's supposed to do. And I said, you need, when they knock on your door, to let these people in so they can inspect the property and make sure it is not an unsafe condition.
Okay.
I told her that last time.
Yes, she
and
did
she
say
did not
that.
let them in. And
Okay.
they've withdrawn that part of the case for today.
Yes.
But that's the problem. I keep telling her the same things over and over again, and then she comes back and says, I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
So, Judge, what you're saying is that they have no pictures of the inside of her house.
No,
at
I
all.
didn't say that. I
Okay.
wanted a current update on what the house is like, because she said she did all this work on it since the last time they were there.
Okay.
So I wanted to be able to inspect it, but she wouldn't let them in.
Gotcha. Now I understand. Let me
So
ask.
if you want to call and schedule something with them, I mean, I don't know what the status of that part of the case will be going
Okay.
forward,
Today
but,
is massive.
what?
Right, no,
Today is
yeah,
massive hearing.
we're talking about the other one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so that's the other case is still open, it's just
Yes.
withdrawn for today, correct?
Correct.
And we need to withdraw the case because the first one is for the demolition, and it doesn't have any fines. For that one, we need to withdraw the case.
Right.
We cannot impose, or we need to demolish the property that is not in condition to be demolished.
Okay,
For
but I
that
gave
one,
her time to have them inspect, so we wouldn't get to that point.
When was the last time she was here?
When was my last hearing?
She was here last month.
Looks like February 20th. February 20th.
Yeah. And Your Honor, just to clarify, the suggestion with the attorney was brought up by them, and where the building official says that's fine if that's the route you want to take.
Well,
So,
she said that last time she was here as well.
Yeah.
But, that's up to her. That's up to her if she wants to get an attorney.
So you guys were in the house February the 20th.
Yeah, okay? All right, thank you. Thanks for your assistance.
Our next case is on page 31, Senior Inspector Alexander Boris. Property address 105 North Federal Highway, owner JCHS 105 Property LLC, case number BE 241-00193. This case was first heard on 3/20/25.
Alexander Albores, Building Inspector for the city, updating you in case number and address as read. The property was cited for violation of FPC 2023, Section 111.1.1 for use and occupancy. The required certificate of occupancy is not yet issued, yet the building is currently occupied. Case is not in compliance, and council is here to provide an update and make a request.
Okay, please state your name. Good morning.
Good morning. Hi, Sam Epstein on behalf of the property owner of 105 North Federal Highway. So I'm here just to I was here back in March to discuss this issue, and of course back again. So today, just an update. This property is operating as a school. It used to be an office, now as a school. Back in September of 2024, a change of use permit was issued for the property, subject to certain conditions. My client has been working expeditiously with the city to mitigate the issue, to take into account all the corrections, changes, comments from staff, to make sure that we can go and get our CO. The issue is there's been lots of turnover with the city, and other issues which have actually delayed the process, the permitting process. We've met with the city again tirelessly and many a time throughout the past few months and for the better part of the last year. And we're really just hoping for only a 30-day continuance here, because based on our call yesterday with staff, with the new planner, with the new engineer, we're right at the finish line. We just really need only 30 more days, and with certainty, with near certainty, we should be in a better position to get that CO, officially close out the change of use permit, and ensure that I don't have to be before you again.
Okay.
Your Honor, just to give you a little background, I believe the tenant here is the Jewish school,
That's
right?
correct.
That had a fire on Las Olas Boulevard, and they had to relocate out of that location. They have been very cooperative. Also, I'm willing to support it. The building has had, this is under, I believe, a TCO for the structure, and the tenant was originally a furniture store, and since, now has a new tenant as a school. I'm not sure if there's continues to be parking issues, if that was ever resolved for the school.
I can't speak to the specific issues at hand, but what I do know is we've been working with each discipline within the city to work these out. So our engineer, if there are indeed parking issues, our engineer surely has been working with the respective department, with the city, to mitigate and ensure that that's no longer an issue if it was one.
Was there a DRC or variance process that you were going through?
I'm not familiar with that process,
Okay.
or if we were currently going
I'm
through
okay
it.
with supporting a 30-day extension.
Say that again?
City supports 30-day extension as per ABO.
35? Okay, 35 days.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Okay.
Thank you.
Our next case is a new business case on page 7. Senior Inspector Jose Saragusi, property address 336 Southwest 20th Street, owner Stacy J. Dean, case number BE 24070186. Notice posted at the property on 4/125. Notice posted at 1 East Broward Boulevard, 5/125.
Inspector Saragusti, on behalf of the city, presenting the case as read. This property has been cited under Florida Building Code 2023, Section 105.1, for work without permit. Kitchen and bathroom renovation, new windows and doors. The case was all open in July 15, 2024. Inspection report was mailed on July 17, 2024. Final notice was mailed on October 10, 2024. Notice of hearing was mailed on January 30, 2025. I have been in contact with a new property owner, and building permits are in process. We are asking the magistrate to find that the violation exists to grant the property owner 126 days to come in compliance, or a fine of $50 per day thereafter. I will let the respondent to speak.
Okay, did you say 126 days?
Yes.
Okay, or what's the fine?
$50 per day thereafter.
Okay. All right. Please state your name for the record.
Stacy Dean.
All right. Are you in agreement with the 126 days to bring the property into compliance or face a fine of $50 a day?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next case is also a new business case on page 8. Property address, Senior Inspector Jose Saragusi, property address 1020 Southwest 31st Street. Owner Dennis D. Rui, Eileen Cheng, and all others. Case number BE 24080225. Notice posted at the property on 4/8/25. Posted at 1 East Broward Boulevard, 5/125.
Inspector Saragusti, on behalf of the city, presenting the case as read. This property has been cited under Florida Building Code 2023, Section 105, for work without permit for a large storage shed extractor and shed, and City Ordinance Section 47-19.2.a for more than one structure in the property. The case was opened on August 19, 2024. Inspection report was mailed on August 22, 2024. Final notice was mailed on October 30, 2024, and notice of hearing was mailed on February 7, 2025. I have been in contact with the property owner, and permits are awaiting client reply since December 2024. We are asking the magistrate to find that the violation exists to grant the property owner 63 days to come in compliance, or a fine of $50 per day thereafter. I will let the respondent to speak.
Sir, please say your name for the record.
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Dennis Roy, R-O-O-Y.
Okay. Mr. Roy, are you in agreement to bring the property into compliance within 63 days or face a fine of $50 a day?
I would be in agreement with that, except I don't know what to do.
Okay.
I cannot get correct answers from the city. I've been down there. I've got a pile of papers here. It's like taking an iPhone and giving me the box and telling me to turn it on. I don't get the answers I need down there. I've called this gentleman 3 times. I got one return call. I've called the city. I've gone to the building place down there. I just don't get the answers I need. I have no clue what to do. I was told it's an accessory structure, and then I can't do that after I spent almost $1,000 to get permits, et cetera, et cetera. They tell me that it's an accessory structure, but it's too big. So that money was wasted. So I thought I would try to do it as a standalone garage. But nobody can answer that question either. So I would love to talk to you, but
Yes, of course.
I don't get return calls. I'm not complaining about that. I'm just saying I don't know what to do. So if I could talk to somebody, I probably could do it in 60 days, maybe 90 days. I don't know.
Okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to grant the 63 days or $50 a day thereafter, but you can talk to the inspector today and get everything straight on what you need to do. And then if you run into a problem, you can always ask for an extension.
Your Honor, let's do an order to reappear.
Okay.
And again, it's without knowing dimensions and exactly what's there. I mean, your best bet, honestly, is to really start with an architect or an engineer or somebody who, unless you have all the dimensions and exactly what's back there.
I have all the plans and everything.
Okay.
But could I?
Joe, this gentleman, I think, is going to need assistance. He's saying that he's not getting good assistance with the city in terms of what
I'm not really saying that. I'm just saying that the answers that I get just don't seem to come together and make a plan for me. I think that
well, they may not all be allowed to exist there.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You may need.
I even went to the company that I bought it from, 8 years ago, and they said, "Oh, too bad." They said you can put it in without a permit. You don't need a permit. Just right after the hurricane, everybody says it's okay to do it, but after the hurricane, they were doing a lot of things that they weren't supposed to, and I got caught in the middle. Go
Yes.
after the guy that sold it to me.
And again, I'm not a technical expert, but just looking at all those multiple structures, you may have setback issues. You may need a variance. They may exceed the allowable size of different structures. So perhaps Joe can give you some guidance.
I will talk with the customer regarding the violation.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Your Honor. You have your meeting with them, and I'm going to enter an order 63 days. If you run into a problem, make sure you contact the inspector.
And please loop me in the
in order
conversation
to
so that
reappear, yes.
we're sure to be posing the question to the different disciplines the way it is. Often with times is people ask, do I need a permit for something? And they're not posing the question correctly, and not necessarily intentionally, but and that's where we're getting the discrepancies. So feel free to email me, keep me in the loop. We'll loop all the disciplines in the same email where you could have it documented what was said and what wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you,
All
Your Honor.
right, so you'll reappear in July 17th. Hopefully by then, everything will be squared
Sir,
away.
come grab a business card. Thank you.
Our next case is on page 26, Inspector Andrew Gebbia, property address 5320 North Powerline Road, 100. Owner, Desert Powerline Out Parcel LLC, case number BE 2405-0142. This case was first heard on 10/17/24 to comply by 12/19/24. One section complied at $50. Total accrued fines, $3,350. City is requesting to reduce the administrative cost.
Andrew Gebbia, building inspector for the city, presenting case and address as read. This case has complied. The city is requesting the fines to be reduced to administrative costs of $892.
Please state your name for the record.
Andrea Norman, I'm the property manager, and we would be more than happy with that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ordered.
Our next case is a new business case on page 1. Inspector Wilson Cantero Jr., property address 3270 Northwest 66th Street. Owner Eddie Garcia. Excuse me, can we take the conversation outside, please, Jose? Case number BE 2502-0006. Notice posted at the property on 3/17/25. Posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard, 5125.
Good morning, Inspector Wilson Quintero Jr. on behalf of the city. Case and address as read. This case was first opened on February 3rd, 2025. An inspection report was mailed out for the following violation. 9-1D. Any violation of the Florida Building Code shall be a violation of this section and punishable as provided for in this section. There's construction work at this property that was started or completed without obtaining the required permits, consisting of but not limited to driveway and landscaping removed and replaced with concrete, rear pool deck surrounding surface also replaced with like materials. Scheduled for a special magistrate on March 7, 2025 and posted on March 17, 2025. As of yesterday, a permit has been applied for. It is in the plan set submitted stage, permit number BLD-GEN-25050374. I haven't had contact with the property owner, but the city will be requesting 126 days to come into compliance or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
Okay, please state your name for the record.
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Eddie Garcia. I'm the property owner.
Okay, Mr. Garcia, are you in agreement to bring the property into compliance within 126 days or face a fine of $50 a day?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next case is on page 24. Senior Inspector Alexander Boris, property address 1501 Southeast 15th Street. Owner, the Island Club Condo Association, Inc. Case number BE 2301-0100. This case was first heard on 7/2023 to comply by 9/2123. One section not complied at $50. City is requesting to impose the full amount of $6,300, which continues to accrue. There are several extensions noted.
Alexander Alvarez, Building Inspector for the city, updating you. Case number and address is read. Case is not complied. Property was cited for violation of City Ordinance 9-3098 for mechanical and electrical equipment, devices, and disrepair specific to mechanical equipment cooling tower. There is a permit issue. This is an active construction site, and the respondent is here to speak.
Please state your name for the record.
Chris Barone, HOA President.
Okay, Mr. Barone, can you give me a progress report here?
Yes, we are in the midst. We have the new equipment on site on the new slab. We're continuing to move forward. All the trenches are dug to install water, wastewater, and electrical, and try to do a changeover from the old code violation system to the new build. We're in the middle of construction right now. We're doing our best. A couple of rain delays, but we're moving forward.
Okay, and what amount of time are you asking for?
We'd like at least another 90 days.
City supports 180 days.
Okay. 180 days, and I'll suspend the fines during that time.
Thank you very much. We appreciate
You're welcome.
it.
Thank you.
Your Honor, at this time, the city is requesting a recess.
Okay.
Thank you for your patience. Our next case is on page 24. Senior Inspector Mary Rich, property address 125 North Birch Road, owner Springbrook Gardens, Inc., a condo, case number BE 2306-0052. This case was first heard on 10/19/23 to comply by 1/18/24. One section not complied at $50. The city is requesting to impose the full amount of $9,050, which continues to accrue. There are 3 extensions noted.
Good morning, Your Honor. Case and address are as read. This is a reappearance, so I'll let the respondent speak. The city has discussed it with the respondent regarding an extension and is in agreement to a 91-day extension.
Okay, we're on. Yes, that would be great. Thank you very much. Oh, you too.
All right, okay, 91 days, and we'll suspend the fines during that time.
Thank you very much. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Our next case is on page 32. Senior Inspector Alexander Boris, property address 925 North Andrews Ave, owner La Mexicana Holdings LLC, case number BE 2405-0080. This case was first heard on 11/21/24 to comply by 2/20/25. One extension noted, one section not complied at $50. Did I say the case number?
Hello. Alexander Arborez, Building Inspector for the City, updating you on case number and address is read. Case is not complied. The property was cited for violation of Florida Building Code 2023, Section 105.1 for work without permit, for interior alteration including framing, exterior window door, and a door removed at the west and south exterior walls. Exterior wall opening infill at south wall. The property, it's not occupied, and the respondent is here to speak.
Please state your name for the record.
Hi, my name is John Wildem.
Okay, what progress have we made since the last time you came?
So we've been working with the architecture for some time now, but we finally was able to start the process about 2 or 3 weeks ago. So we're to start working with a GC, designer, architecture, and everything else in place. Did you send this?
I have some documents. I don't know.
Okay.
You have to represent your name.
You have to state your name for the
Yeah, just to say my name. So, Dio Aname, owner of La Mexicana Taco Bar. And as John was mentioning, yeah, we already have our team together. So the architect, the GC, and it's just a matter of time to finalize like the draws and then, submit for the permit.
Okay, so how much time are you asking for?
I think we're gonna ask for 100 and, like 3 months just to be safe, but I'm sure that we're gonna be able before that.
Okay.
Yeah, city supports one final 126-day extension to come into compliance.
Okay, and we'll suspend the fines during that time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next case is on page 22. Senior Inspector Preston Mark, property address 2895, 2895 Northeast 32nd Street, 109. Owner David Aloysius Wardowski. Case number BE 2501-0142. Notice posted at the property on 3/18/25. Posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard, 5/1/25.
Preston Mark, Building Inspector for the City, presenting case and address as read. The property was cited for violation FBC 2023-105.1. The building has been illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits. This involved interior remodel of the kitchen and bath, and also the installation of a washer and dryer hooked up in the closet in the kitchen area. The case was opened 1/15/25, inspection report mailed 1/31/25, and special magistrate notice mailed 3/5/25. During my inspection of this property, I found that the the condo unit was being remodeled. I met with the owner, David Wodowski, and also requested access to the property, but he refused. He indicated that he purchased the unit as is and is only doing painting and flooring. Our records show that no permit was pulled for the above-mentioned work that he completed. The city is requesting that the magistrate find that the violations exist and grant the property owner 91 days to come in compliance or a fine of $100 a day thereafter. The respondent is here to speak.
Please state your name for the record.
David Wardowski.
Okay, are you in agreement to bring the property into compliance within 91 days or face a fine of $100 a day?
That's not even my condo.
Good morning, man. He has mixed pictures. That is not our place.
Okay.
And the pictures he has for our place are taken from outside our place. And I would like to know if, because that's my place, that's my privacy, if somebody can take pictures.
All right, did you state your name for the record, ma'am?
Giselle Garcia.
Okay. All right, are you part owner of the property?
Yeah, we're married.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay, so these are not pictures of your unit?
Yeah, that picture is our place, but it was taken from outside, and we have a code and everything, so I don't know when that happened.
So tell me what difference that makes that
Yeah,
they were
what
taken
difference
from
The
outside?
difference means there is a code, main door. You have to go through that door. We didn't give anyone the code. And to just go, the blinds were open. I'm just going to take pictures. That's my privacy. I have kids, so I don't feel that's right.
Okay, well, my understanding was that you refused him admission.
Of course. Why would I
Why?
let someone in my house?
In the first place, how you know we did that? Because we never did it. We took apart our closet to paint it. That's it. And the other pictures are not our place.
Which pictures are not your place?
That one there.
That one?
Are you going to allow us access to inspect the property?
Pardon?
Why? Because we didn't do anything. I don't get it. I don't understand. I'm sorry.
Who allowed you access?
Well, we have evidence that the property was remodeled. Obviously, the information that we have, okay, comes from a credible source. The building also indicated that they have instructed you not to do any work without pulling a
didn't do any
permit.
work. All we did was painting there.
Well, grant us.
We've
Well,
owned it 2
would you
years.
grant us access
It
to?
was completely remodeled. I have that in the listing.
Well, we have no evidence.
And you have nothing of my bathroom.
Well, we have
You better
no.
not have anything in my bathroom.
And the
That means you're in my
unit
place.
that was remodeled is 107, so that's why you have pictures, of course, not our unit. And anyway, I can say something about somebody, but that doesn't mean that's true.
Right. We can say anything we want about you and accuse you of that, but that doesn't mean
Okay,
it's
but
true.
the
So you-
pictures show, this picture shows a modern renovated kitchen. The inspector has testified there's no permits on file. Whether you did it or the prior people did it, you bought the property, you buy the violation. So that remodeled kitchen, I assume, is not the original kitchen of the
I
unit.
have no
I
idea.
don't know. We've been there only 2
I
years.
thought you said it was advertised as newly remodeled.
Right, it says that in the
Right.
listing.
Yeah,
how do we know?
so they did that remodeling without permits.
How do we know when it says newly remodeled? Do we know it was the kitchen, the bathroom? We don't know what they did. We came in, we said, hey, this is a nice place.
And the problem
Well, you know,
started.
if you let the inspector in to inspect, he could see what's new and what's not.
Exactly.
Well, I'm not gonna let anyone in my home for no reason, is all
Well,
I'm saying. You know?
then I'm gonna grant the order that you're gonna bring the property into compliance within 91 days or face a fine of $100 a day.
And that's it,
So-
because somebody says that.
Right, because, yeah, I can say that your house is not remodeled and you come over and take a picture out the window.
Okay,
and-
there's no permits on file for a newly remodeled kitchen that you've already testified was in the listing, that it was
I said in the listing
Remodeled.
that it said it was remodeled, the condo was
Right,
remodeled.
right. So there were no permits for that. You got to take care of that.
So
You
how do
buy
we-
the house, you buy the subject to the violation.
How do we know that it was buying the house? We had a real estate agent do it, the transaction,
Well,
and we also had
talk
title
to them.
insurance done on
So
it.
talk to them. Talk to them. You know, this
These
is,
people that are doing this, they owe me money. I took them to court, the board. That's who's pursuing this.
Because in 2 years, or maybe 3 or 4 before, nobody knew
We
that
had to-
they were remodeling. Nobody said anything.
why didn't they tell
Why
us?
they say
well,
that now?
you know, all I know now is at some point this was remodeled without a permit. You now own the property, so you are responsible to do an after-the-fact permit and have the place inspected to make sure it was done properly. That is your responsibility as the current homeowner. And you're going to have 91 days to do it.
So everyone in there has to go through that process then, in my condo complex?
Everyone has to go through permitting to remodel.
So when I come in here and I tell you every unit in here, and every unit in here, and every unit in all these buildings around here have been remodeled without a permit, what do you guys do?
Well,
I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna
okay,
go bop, 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 bop.
do what you want, sir. If you file a complaint, it'll be investigated.
Okay.
Your hearing's over.
Okay.
Thank you.
Our next two cases are on page 3. Senior Inspector Alexander Boris. Property address 2848 Northeast 25th Court. Owner, Core Ridge Home LLC. Case number BE 2502-0128. Notice posted at the property on 3/18/25. Posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard, 5/1/25.
Alexander Alvarez, Building Inspector for the city, presenting case number and address as read. The property was cited for violation of Florida Building Code 2023, Section 110.1 for missing requiring inspections related to permit PM 18121940 for work already completed. The permit expediter has been in communication. City is requesting for the magistrate to find the violation exists and grant the property owner 126 days to come into compliance or a fine of $50 per day thereafter, and for the final order to be recorded. Respondent is here to speak.
Good
Hi, Your
morning.
Honor.
Please state your name for the record.
Nicasia Termocha, and I am the general contractor on record.
Okay. Are you in agreement to bring the property into compliance within 126 days?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next case is also on page 3, property address 1325 Northeast 17th Ave. Owner Silvio Da Silva, homestead exempted, Mario A. Ruda. Case number BE 24050109. Notice posted at the property on 3/26/25. Posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard on 5/1/25.
Alexander Alvarez, Building Inspector for the city, presenting case number and address as read. The property was cited for violation of Florida Building Code 2023, Section 105.1, work without permit for new concrete driveway, kitchen, and bathroom renovation. As of May 8th, 2025, only the driveway permit, it's pending. Owner has been in communication. City is requesting for the magistrate to find that violation exists and to grant the property owner 126 days to come into compliance or a fine of $50 per day thereafter, and for the final order to be recorded. Respondent is here to speak.
Good morning.
Good
I'm
morning.
Silvio, the owner.
Okay. Are you in agreement to bring the property into compliance within 126 days?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our next case is Senior Inspector Jose Saragusti on page 10. Property address 2240 Southwest 33rd Terrace, case number BE 23070319. Owner Paola Veronique de Gravia. Notice posted at the property on 4/8/25. Notice posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard on 5/1/25.
Inspector Saragusti, on behalf of the city presenting the case are read. This property has been cited under City Ordinance Section 9-259B for building parts deteriorated and not maintained. Missing roof at the property, floor, windows, doors, and breeding mosquitoes in the pool area. This case was opened July 26, 2023. Inspection report was mailed on August 27, 2024. Final notice was mailed on September 20, 2024. Notice of hearing was made on April 2nd, 2025. I don't have any contact with the property owner, but a few days ago, the attorney here present, Monica Ofredi, called me regarding this case. We are asking the magistrate to find that the violation exists and grant the property owner 63 days to come in compliance or a fine of $100 per day thereafter.
Please state your name for the record.
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Monica Alfredi. I'm the attorney and I represent the property owner. I was retained about 2 weeks ago. I'm aware of the violations. I don't know if Your Honor is aware. The issue that happened here is this house caught fire. It was a freak accident. A thunder struck the home and it burned 60% of the home. As you can imagine, my client was, very stressed. It has been very emotional. Now that the inspector that have been on the case, I have spoken to Inspector Sarah Augusti. The pool has been cleaned. That's one of the issues, and we are requesting an extension of time. There has been issues with the insurance. There was an issue with the insurance paying. Now they finally received payment, partial payment, and they're going to start demolition and reconstruction.
Have you submitted the permits?
There is going to be submitted. That's one of the things that I was speaking to Mr. Saragusti. So we're asking for a 90-day extension to prepare all of that.
There are several complainants for this property. It was an old case, and I think with 63 days and mandatory reappearance, it will be enough.
Yeah, I think that 63 days should be sufficient for you to get the permits. If you run into a problem, contact the inspector. You can always request additional time, but that should be sufficient.
Can I request on behalf of my clients a suspension of the fines?
There's no fines yet.
No fines? Okay.
Yeah, the fines will begin on the 64th day.
On the 64th day. I appreciate it. Okay.
And the inspector asked for a notice to reappear too, so.
Okay, yes, and so you'll come back on July 17th and give me an update.
July 17th, no problem. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Our next case is on page 9, Senior Inspector Jose Saragusti, property address 1900, Northeast 16th Terrace, owner Aramis Sanchez, case number BE 24080052. Notice posted at the property on 3/26/25, posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard, 5/1/25.
Inspector Saragusti, on behalf of the city, presenting the case as read. This property has been cited under Florida Building Code 2023, Section 105.1 for work without permit. Complete remodeling house, including bathroom, kitchen, and mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. Also, Florida Building Code 2023, Section 111.1 for properties that not have the certificate of occupancy, and City Ordinance Section 47-19.2.p for Tiki Hut located inside the lateral setback with electrical installation. This case was opened in August 6, 2024. Inspection report was mailed on August 7, 2024. Final notice was mailed on September 25, 2024. Notice of hearing was mailed on December 19, 2024. I have been several times with the customer, in contact with the customer, plumbing and electrical permit issue, but Tiki Hut is awaiting client reply since February 25. We are asking the magistrate to find that violation exists and grant the property owner 126 days to come in compliance or a fine of $50 per day thereafter. I will let the respondent to speak.
Please state your name for the record.
Good morning. My name is Aramis Sanchez. I'm the
Okay,
owner of the
Mr.
property.
Sanchez, are you in agreement to bring the property into compliance within 126 days or face a fine of $50 a day?
Well, before we do that, I have a few concerns, if I can address you.
Sure.
Okay. So I've already spent about $7,500 on engineering and architectural plans, and I have not gotten anywhere. When Roy Figueroa came to the property on the 24th of February, he kind of confused me because on the 23rd of August, I spoke with Jose Saragusti on a conversation, and I have an email here that states exactly what he wants done. When Roy came to the property, he stated that things outside of what I was told to do needed to be done. So he also stated that with regard to Jose Saragusti, and I quote, he's not a plumber and does not know what needs to be done. So what I'm asking for is how do I proceed? Because everything that's on the permits that I've applied for, that's what I'm expecting to have inspected. And he's asking for a shower pan, he's asking for a whirlpool, and that's problem number one. The second issue that I have is with the Tiki Hut. I've called just about every single Indian and contractor in Broward and Miami, and no one is willing to provide plans because it's a liability issue. I have Google Earth images, and it dates back to 2005. So the property has had that same Tiki Hut in place since 2005. I also sent out an email asking why wasn't the property inspected prior to. It's been 20 years.
Because you have to have you have to apply for a permit in order to trigger an inspection.
I didn't do anything to the property. The only thing that I did to the property was I painted anything that was non-permanent.
When did you purchase the property?
In June of 2022, and then I received this notice in August of 2024. This one right here. That's what I received. And when I let the gentleman, the inspector, in the house, he told me exactly what needed to be done. I wrote everything down, and then I followed up with emails. I followed up with phone calls, and I have that all here. So the problem that I'm having is I'm not getting any clear resolution as to how to proceed, especially with the Tiki Hut. I submitted plans. I called. Every time I call, I've called probably hundreds of times, and I don't get a response back. So I've been trying to contact Mario Carrasquel and Michael Rinkus. Those are the individuals that are on the Tiki Hut plans, and I have yet to get a call back from them. So I don't know exactly how to proceed. I submitted the plans, I submitted the survey for the Tiki Hut, and I just don't know where to go at this point.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. And then...
Chief Martinez with the City of Lauderdale, the best recommendation that I can give you is, have you visited the 700 building?
I'm sorry?
Have you visited the 700 building?
The 700?
Yeah, which is the building department.
Yes.
I recommend you to, if you go there and you ask for Mario Carrasquel, which is a plan examiner, or Michael Rinkus, they will come up and talk to you and let you know what needs to be, or what are the requirements are you missing.
So I've gone there and I spoke to Mike Malone. I've gone there on several occasions. Those individuals are not
Have you
available.
asked for Mario or Michael?
I have, and I cannot get a hold of them. I've called them on the phone. I've sent them emails. Nothing.
But if you visit there and you ask for them, if they're not there, you ask
But
for
I have.
Bill Kramer, which is the chief structure of the city, and he will come and he will ventilate whatever question you have.
So every time I go to the city, I've been to the Department of Buildings on several occasions. I
Okay,
get
well, you have 126 days.
Just,
I've
can I
been-
just add a
I've
couple
been-
things, Your Honor? So the Tiki Hut is,
In the setback.
is in the setback. If it could even stay there, it would require a variance from the Board of Adjustment. Tiki Huts, and it's got electrical, so that's going to need a permit. In terms of the senior plumbing inspector, the senior plumbing inspector is coming out and giving you technical explanation, requirements of technical requirements for probably for the renovation of the bathroom. It's not going to be in conflict with what Inspector Saragusti is going to tell you, because the general violation is all this work was done without permits. So the senior plumbing inspector is going to tell you what needs to be done when he goes out and inspects for plumbing. There's no conflict there. Just like when a mechanical inspector is going to go out and say, this is what is required. Are you trying to run all these permits yourself?
So the issue I'm
You don't
having,
have a contractor?
So I'm doing it myself. That's
Okay.
correct. So the issue that I'm having here is when the inspector came out to the property, I specifically asked him what in the bathrooms needed to be on the what needs to be on the permit. I was told 2 toilets, the water heater, with regard to plumbing. That's it.
Correct, because he's the plumbing inspector.
And
That's his only discipline.
So the question I have, well, if this Mr. Figueroa comes in and he tells me that the inspector that came in is not a plumber, how is this inspector that's supposedly not a plumber supposed to give me proper advice if he's not a plumber?
I mean, I think your lack of knowledge here is really hurting you. I would suggest that you get a contractor. No one's giving you advice. The violation is self-explanatory. It was a complete remodel of everything, pretty much. You don't have a CO. Probably shouldn't be living there without a CO. And the Tiki Hut is either going to have to get a variance or it's going to have to come down. You don't need to be a plumbing inspector to say if work was performed and a complete renovation to detail those violations. The senior plumbing inspector is telling you what needs to be on the plans for plumbing. Again, a mechanical is going to tell you what needs to be shown on the plans for mechanical, electrical, and so forth. You're going to have all trades, it looks like, and structural. You're going to need a complete set of plans and with all the trades on there, and it's going to have to go through an after-the-fact permit process.
And I have my permits. I do have the permits for the electrical, and I do have a permit for plumbing.
Okay.
We are at the stage of inspection.
Okay.
I did everything as per
So the
instructions.
the senior plumbing inspector is telling you what needs to be shown for plumbing. I have no idea what you're saying, why there's, in your mind, an alleged conflict with somebody else. Plumbing is telling you plumbing. Plumbing's not going to tell you mechanical. Plumbing's not going to tell you structural. Plumbing's not going to tell you electrical. Those disciplines all have their own plan reviewers, chiefs, and inspectors. They will inspect per their discipline what they're allowed to by their license. So there's no conflict there. And your Tiki Hut, while it's been there, and you certainly may have a claim against the prior owner or your title insurance, again, we don't go and inspect properties regularly unless they're either A, permits or complaints been made. So a complaint, I guess the prior owner got lucky and no complaint was made about the Tiki Hut. The Tiki Hut has been discovered. Now we know it's there. It's illegal. It can't remain there unless you get a variance.
Okay, so how do I go about with the Tiki Hut? Because no contractor wants to put any plans together. I put plans together.
With the sketches that you sent, is enough. You will need to apply for a variance, or you will need to remove it. I already told you the first time.
I understand that. and I have
It's
done
not
everything as
difficult
per your
that.
instruction.
And you cannot have the electrical installation there.
I
also.
understand it, and I've done everything as per your instruction, okay?
But nothing happened since in the tiki permit. Nothing happens
Because
since
I haven't been able to get a hold of anyone. I've been trying to get a hold of someone since February. I've been trying to get a hold of someone before then. And that's the issue that I'm having.
This is awaiting client reply, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Yes,
awaiting correction.
it's your information.
So I am responding to the waiting for client reply. I'm doing everything that I can, right? But if I don't get a hold of somebody, who am I supposed to reply to?
Well, since the assistant building official, Joe, building official, Joe, is walking back in.
I've spoken to him as well.
Okay, but you're saying hundreds of phone calls and
Yes.
hundreds of emails.
Yes.
I don't believe you. Where are the emails? Where?
I have some here. I have some here.
Joe, this man is saying hundreds of emails and phone calls.
No,
and
hundreds
visits.
of phone calls. Not hundreds of emails.
Okay,
Hundreds of phone
hundreds
calls.
of emails and
Here-
then miscellaneous
Here's some
emails.
right here.
Sir,
But
you're
it's-
under oath.
Yes.
I know we have a tendency sometimes to exaggerate, but
I'm not exaggerating.
you've made hundreds of phone calls.
Yes, 100%.
To which individual? What was the intent of the call? So
Michael Rinkus and Mario Carrasquel, and I've left messages. I have phone calls.
And they never return the call?
They do not return my phone call. I've called Brenda, Carmen. I've called.
None of them return your calls?
None of them return my
Okay,
phone
I
call.
do find that highly unusual.
I've spoken to you as well, sir. And
I didn't return your call either?
No. When you
Did I return your call?
Yes.
Okay,
you
so
and
I get
speak.
credit for returning
Yes,
the call.
You do. And
Okay.
I have spoken with you, and you have guided me and you have given me the information. You have put me in touch with Jose, and you have given me certain links, but I'm not getting anywhere.
Okay,
I'm
so
really
this is
not
what I
getting anywhere.
suggest. This is what I suggest. Use my email.
Yeah.
Will include the group of the individuals that you'd like to get in contact, and I'll assure you that they respond to your emails. This way, you'll have it documented with our responses and the times that we've responded to you. What's the case regarding work without permit?
Regarding a tiki hut in the setback, an electrical installation.
Yep.
The case was open. I've been there with him. I explained the violation,
Okay, so
the two
And
different
it's
alternatives.
and a complete renovation of the interior, and there's no CO.
Okay. So are we here to acknowledge that it was done without we're acknowledging the violations, correct?
He's been working on it.
Okay.
I have the electrical permit and I have the plumbing permit. That's
Okay.
already done.
Okay.
We're at the stage of inspection. I purchased the house the way it is.
Okay.
The only thing that I did was paint the house, install floors, right?
Okay.
And change 2 toilets. That does. the
Yeah,
only thing that requires
it's
a permit.
unfortunate. It's unfortunate you
I
purchased the
understand,
property.
and I'm responsible for the property. I totally understand it, and I'm accepting responsibility. However, if I'm not getting cooperation from the city, how can I proceed?
Okay.
How can I go about getting the proper permits, variances for the tiki hut if I don't get a
I assure you, you'll get a response this afternoon with the information that you need.
So I looked in my emails, Your Honor, and not this gentleman, but there was a lawyer involved way back in August of September of last year. We all exchanged emails on this property because the same arguments were raised with regard to the tiki hut was there, and we said, you buy the property, you buy the violation, you've got to move forward. So Joe was on those emails, I was on those emails, obviously, because there was counsel. So it's been some time since there's been at least written communication with Joe and myself.
Okay, I'm not going to hear any more about this, okay? What you need to do is apply for a variance if you want to keep that tiki hut.
Okay.
Okay, now, the variance comes before the permits, I assume?
Yes.
Okay, so you need to get that variance before you can get any permits.
Is there
So that's the
someone that
tiki
can
hut.
assist me
Don't
with that?
speak while I'm
sorry.
speaking, sir.
Okay.
So that's the tiki hut. The other, it is, if you have the permits and you can't pass inspection, you got to figure out what you need to do to pass inspection. Okay? So contact the supervisor and he will help you. You have 126 days or $50 a day thereafter. Thank you.
There you go, Ross.
Our next case is on page 6. Inspector Andrew Gebbia, property address 2350 Southwest 18th Terrace. Owner Dominique Bellinger, Virginia L. Duplessis. Notice posted at the property on 4/4/25, posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard on 5/1/25. I'll go back to that. This one's a little break.
Andrew Gebbia, building inspector for the city, presenting case and address as read. This property was cited for violation under FBC 2023-105.1, work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to kitchens, bathrooms, 2 kitchens, 2 bathrooms, which includes structural, plumbing, electrical, and mechanical. And Florida Building Code 2023-111.11, the use and the occupancy of this dwelling has been changed from the original permitted occupancy classification of a single family to a multifamily dwelling without obtaining the required permits and the certificate of occupancy from the building department. This case was opened on 1/10/2025. The inspection report was mailed on there was no inspection report. This one went straight to Magistrate on 2/21/2025. I arrived at this property on 1/10/2025 for a possible illegal conversion and work without permit. I observed 1 door in front of the gate and 2 doors behind the gate. I researched this property on the internet and noticed that there are 3 separate apartments, each with a kitchen and a bathroom. There are also no permits on file for either the kitchens and the bathrooms. They both look updated from the photos, and 1 bathroom is not updated and 1 kitchen is not updated. The city is requesting the magistrate to find that the violations exist and to grant the property owner 63 days to come into compliance or a $100 a day fine thereafter. I will allow the respondent to speak.
Please state your name for the record.
Good morning, Honor. My name is Virginia L. Duplessis.
Okay. Are you in agreement to bring the property into compliance by getting the required permits within 63 days or face a fine of $100 a day?
Honor, since I purchased that place, nobody never inside. I don't do nothing inside the place whatsoever. I don't do kitchen. I don't do bathroom. I don't do
Okay,
nothing.
but somebody remodeled it. If you didn't, it was probably the prior owner, but you are still responsible. If you have a problem with the prior owner or your title insurance company or whatever, you can discuss that with them. But once you take possession and once you take ownership of the property, you buy the violation. So it's now your responsibility to correct it. And how you correct it is by getting after-the-fact permits and inspections to make sure that the property was done properly. And you have to apply for a multifamily dwelling permit. Do you understand? Okay. All right. 63 days. If you run into a problem, make sure you contact the inspector. If you have any questions, ask him before you leave here today. Okay? All right. Thank you.
Our next case is also on page 6. Property address 2406 Gulfstream Lane. Owner LMGA Investment Group LLC. Case number B. Andrew, you have the next case. You want me to wait?
Yeah, she's just gonna grab my business.
Okay. Okay.
And then,
Okay. All right. Sorry, sir.
Call
Our next case is on page 27. Senior Inspector Jose Saragusti. Property address. I'm sorry, Andrew. I just started calling Jose's case. Sorry. 2520 Laguna Terrace. Case number BE 24050177. Owner Mirtha A. Camacho, homestead exempted.
Jose is not here either.
Okay, so we're going to go back.
Next.
Andrews then.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. I'm sorry, ma'am. Inspector Andrew Gebbia, page 6, property address 2406 Gulfstream Lane, owner LMGA Investment Group LLC, case number BE 24080017. Notice posted at the property on 3/27/25, posted at 1 East Broward Boulevard on 5/1/25.
Andrew Gebbia, Building Inspector for City, presenting case and address as read. This property was cited for violation under FBC 2023-105.1, work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to concrete steps on each side of the pool and a water feature over the pool. This case was opened on 8/2/2024. The inspection report was mailed on 1/21/2025, and the special magistrate notice was mailed on 2/26/2025. I arrived at this property to meet with the owner regarding the pool. The pool was permitted and completed the final inspections. However, after that inspection, he added concrete steps to each side of the pool, and on the side of the pool, he also added a waterfall light bar feature over the pool connected to each side, anchored to the floor. The waterfall bar was not included in the scope of work where the plans were submitted to the city. He does have permits for the work mentioned. He's waiting for a waiting client reply or something like that.
Just waiting for approval.
Yeah.
Where will you submit
All
the
right, state
structural?
your name for the record.
My name is Alan Gonzalez. I'm
Okay,
the owner
well,
of the property.
I don't believe that you were finished.
Yeah, well, I'll finish it. The city's requesting the magistrate to find that the violations exist and to grant the property owner 126 days to come into compliance or $50 a day thereafter.
Thank you.
Okay,
I'll allow you
sir,
to speak.
now please state your name for the record again.
Alan Gonzalez.
Okay. Are you in agreement to bring the
Of course,
property
yes.
into compliance within 126 days or face a fine of $50 a day?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
All right,
Thank you.
Senior Inspector Jose Saragusi for page 27, property address 2520 Laguna Terrace. Excuse me. Case number BE 24050177. Owner Bertha A. Camacho, homestead exempted, Jennifer G. Camacho. This case was first heard on 10/17/24 to comply by 1/16/25. One section not complied at $50. The city is requesting to impose fines of $5,900, which continues to accrue.
Inspector Saragusti, on behalf of the city presenting the case as read, the case is not complied. I have been in contact with the property owner, Ms. Camacho, several permit issued, but still missing pool resurfacing, sprinkler system permits, sewer line and new electrical panel, also security system permits. The city requesting to impose the fine of $5,900. I will let the respondent to speak.
Please state your name for the record.
Mirta Camacho.
Ms. Camacho, why is it taking so long to get this done?
I don't know what inspector you're talking about. Something different?
No, it's part
Because
of the
I
same
have-
violation.
Yeah, this happened last year. I bought this house in 2023 in September. I wanted to do some changes, so I hired an architect, and then I hired licensed contractors to do the work. Unfortunately, they didn't call for inspections, so I was caught in the middle. So all the inspections that needed to be done is done. I'm ready for final inspections, hopefully in the next 2 weeks. But Inspector, you mentioned something different.
No, it's no difference. It's part of the same violation. If you read the violation
Because
says,
I have final inspections coming for electrical, plumbing.
yes,
and,
the
mechanical.
pool resurfacing is part of the first violation. Sprinkler
I never
systems
heard about the pool resurfacing. They pool permit.
For the deck.
Oh, I didn't know. Yeah.
Sewer line, that is part of the same violation, and electrical panel. All this
The
was
electrical
open
panel,
in the same violation, and I don't see any permit of that.
The electrical panel has the permits, and it was
The
passed.
inside, not outside.
Yeah. I didn't know it was outside.
Outside is another panel
Yeah,
that
if you
was
will please
changed.
let me know. I was not aware, Your Honor. about these latest things that he's mentioning. I did not receive information on that. I thought it was related to the original problem, which I am ready to have final inspections in the next 2 weeks.
Okay, do
But
you
this
understand-
additional pool resurfacing, I'm
Do
sorry,
you understand now what you have left to do on this?
it's new for me. It's new.
Well, it's
I
not
didn't
new.
know.
It's part of the.
Yeah, but it was not written down. I'm
Yes.
sorry.
Yeah, it is. It's right here on the list.
It would be on the
read it.
list?
In the building has been illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to: complete renovation, including electrical work, plumbing work, sewer line, and new plumbing fixtures, sprinkler system, partition, pool resurfacing, new electrical panel and main panel, new AC units, and security system.
Part of the works already have, it's corrected, permits, but others that I already read, they are missing, and I don't see the permit.
There is no problem, Inspector. You know, I follow exactly
Yes,
what you
you've
asked me
been
to do.
trying to resolve that
These
one, but
latest things about the pool resurfacing, the sprinkle, and security, I didn't know. I was not aware. But if it's an issue, I will take care of it, but I needed to have it in writing. I never heard of
It's
that.
in writing, in the violation.
I know, it will be on your paper, but I didn't get it.
It's not new. This is the original violation.
Yes, and you have a copy of the agenda in your hand that also tells you everything that
Okay,
you have to do.
then I missed it, I'm sorry.
Okay.
But I just want to let you know that it was no intention for me to do things without permits. I was taken by these illegal contractors that they were licensed contractors. So I have to redo everything. I do appreciate the time you've given me before to do it. But if didn't read it properly, I will make it sure it's done right.
All right, I will give you 35 days, and that's the last.
Our next case is on page 24. Senior Inspector Alexander Boris, property address 1560 Northeast 4th Ave. Owner, Bernard Cherasol, case number BE 24080369. This case was first heard on 11/21/24 to comply by 123/25. One section not complied at $100. The city is requesting to impose the full amount of $5,500, which continues to accrue. There are 2 extensions noted.
Alexandra Perez, Building Inspector for the city, updating you case number and address is read. The case is not complied. The property was cited for violation of Florida Building Code 2023, Section 105.1 as follows: change of use without the required permits, interior alteration, including but not limited to tenant separation walls partially removed between units and a walk-in cooler in unit 1546. Permits have been applied for. They're currently under the review process. Respondent is here to speak.
Please state your name for the record.
Bernard Chesa, I'm the property owner, and I
Okay.
have with me the GC.
Okay,
Good morning, Your Honor.
good morning. State your name for the record.
Mohammed,
Okay,
and we have all the permits been applied. So
Okay.
they're in review, so we're just waiting for any comment that come back so we can respond. So I'm just waiting for the time, and I'm requesting the maximum I can get so I can complete the whole process of permit approval and get the work started.
okay.
City supports 126-day extension.
Okay, 126 days, and we'll spend the fines during that time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next case is a new business case on page 1. Inspector Severian Ionesco, case number BE 25040060, property address 3909 North Ocean Boulevard. Owner, Top of the Mile South, Inc. This notice posted at the property on 4/10/25. Notice posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard on 5/1/25.
Good morning. Severian Ionescu, Building Inspector for the city, presenting the case as read. This property was cited for violation under City Ordinance 9-280B, building in disrepair. The case was opened on April 8, 2025. The issue is structural columns and crawl space ceiling under the pool deck shows spalling concrete and exposed rebar posing safety concerns. The engineering report done on April 3rd by the Falcon Group states repairs are needed immediately, pool must be vacated, shoring installation planned for the week of April 7th, that was never performed. The Falcon Group assessment was based on visual observations only and no in-depth structural analysis. My last inspection was on May 8th. The pool deck was already closed, but shoring was not installed yet. Owner representative provided an updated engineer report at this hearing. The city request to magistrate is to confirm violations exist, require shoring installation within 7 days or $100 a day thereafter fine, require full repair within 126 days or additional $100 per day fine. I will allow the respondent to speak.
Please state your name for the record.
My name is Frank Zangara. I am the Association Managing Officer at 3909
Okay.
North Ocean Boulevard.
Are you in agreement to have it shored up within 7 days and completed within 126 days?
Your Honor, we are asking for a slight extension. We do have a closed bid envelope process that is occurring on the 21st. I don't want to feel restricted with our contractors to have the shoring done as well as the work within 7 days. That's basically the closed bid envelope process will be done on Wednesday. That gives me a day allowance basically. So I'm asking for possibly 20 days if such. Everything is closed down right now. As well as that, we have emptied out the pool. So the weight on the underside of the belly of the pool has been totally closed off. And we've also done our fiduciary duties with the members. We sent them out an e-blast at the time, and we told them that it's totally off. premises. We're only about 30% occupancy right now within our building.
Okay.
So I am asking for the...
You understand that the 7 days they're requesting is for shoring only. They're requesting 126 days to complete the project.
That is correct. I totally understand, but I did get right on it. I did call a company called Scaftech. They're one of the biggest shoring companies around in Fort Lauderdale. And they haven't given me a quote since the first day that this has come to my understanding, as I only took over that property since February the 1st, as I was getting an insurance survey done as well. And I wanted to complete because life safety does mean something to myself, being an association manager. So I'm asking for that extra extension because I do want to compile the two. Whoever's doing the contractual work, I want them to do the scaffolding or the shoring work as well. So this way we can...
But the shoring work has to be done first, so the place is
Absolutely,
secure.
absolutely. Yeah, it is a confined space, so I do understand. We also have other, we have to put up some temporary lighting, and it's only in 3.5 feet, basically. So we do understand that. We want to make it safe for everybody.
Your Honor, we'd like to keep to the 7 days. The report that was prepared for the building was April 3rd. So we're now in mid-May, and emergency shoring, when that is suggested by an engineer, we need to all take that very seriously. In all honesty, that should have been done by the end of April. You know, emergency shoring to prevent a collapse is really imperative, so we'd like to keep to the 7 days.
And there are plenty of companies out there that provide that service, so the last thing we want to hear is that they're not getting back to you. My suggestion is to reach out. There's dozens of companies that provide that service. So that would be my suggestion. I mean, if they're not getting back to you, then that's not...
Okay.
Your Honor, I'm asking for some leniency. Sorry for interrupting.
Well, because it's a safety issue, and this has been going on since the beginning of April, I'm going to grant the 7 days. If you can't work with your current contractor, you need to get a different contractor. But the shoring has to be done. The 126 days, you know, to complete the project, you know, if you
That's
need
fair.
more time, you can ask for it.
That's
but
fair.
we need to take the emergency measures right away.
Right, if I may. They also, the Falcon Engineering, their structural engineers, they've also put out a letter to the chief on the 4th that does stipulate the shoring has to be done. When the shoring is done, the pool can be reopened. I shut it right down. And by not having that weight in the pool, them being the structural engineer of such, I honestly believe that it's pretty much safe because they're asking me to
I have
open
to
up the
go
pool.
by what's in front of
Okay,
me, and there's an
fair enough.
engineer's report out there that says emergency shoring is necessary. So until I'm presented with something different, I'm going with this as an emergency situation, and you need to take care of it.
I understand.
Okay.
Could I allow, as opposed to 20, maybe 10 days? Just so I want to be in total compliance. I want to make sure. I've done my due diligence this morning. I got on the phone with the Falcon Engineering Group. Because of this closed bid, I told them to expedite this shoring right away. That's what we need, so maybe we can escalate it. I don't want to be lying to the courts. I just need a couple of more days over and above the 7, or maybe 20 is too extreme, but what I'm asking for, maybe 10, if he would allow me to do that. I mean, we already are in the, you know, the end of the week, so to speak.
All right, 10 days.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you. I appreciate
26
you.
days to
Thank you.
complete the project, and and make sure you keep in touch with the inspector if you run into a problem.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right.
That concludes all our respondents. Moving on to page 2, Senior Inspector Alexander Borges. Property address 509 Coconut Isle Drive. Owner James Michael Pouncey. Case number BE 241-00172. Notice posted at the property on 3/14/25. Notice posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard on 5/1/25.
Alexandra Bores, Building Inspector for the city, presenting case number and address as read. This property was cited for the following violations. Violation number 1, it's a violation of Florida Building Code 2023, Section 105.1, work without permit for masonry, fence, retaining wall, and a boat dock seawall on Lot 8. Violation 2 is for violation of City Ordinance 14-5A for fill added to raised grade entirely on Lot 8. This case was opened on 10/29/2024. Inspection report mailed to the property owner on 10/29/2024. Final notice sent December 23, 2024. Record show no permit application addressing these two issues. The city is requesting for the magistrate to find violation exists and to grant the property owner 63 days to come into compliance or a fine of $50 per day thereafter. City is also requesting for the final order to be recorded.
So ordered.
Page
63.
3. Oh, sorry. Page 3, Inspector Andrew Gebbia, property address 259 Kansas Ave. Owner Marceline Angrand, case number BE 24110089. Notice posted at the property on 3/27/25, posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard on 5/1/25.
Andrew Gebbia, Building Inspector for the city, presenting case and address as read. This property was cited for violation under FBC 2023-105.1, work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to wood fence installation. This case was opened on 11/18/2024. The inspection report was mailed on 1/8/2025. The special magistrate notice was mailed on 2/7/2025. I received a phone call from the owner of the property, Narcelli Angrand. She stated that the tenant of the house installed 2 sections of fence. The owner was unaware of this. She was going to have him remove the sections and call me to take photos to comply the case. I then drove past the property on 12/6/2024. After not hearing back from the owner about the fence being removed, the fence was still up in the same state that it was when I first visited the property. On 4/29/25, permit application BLDGEN-250400619 was submitted and is awaiting client reply. The city is requesting the magistrate to find that the violations exist and to grant the property owner 63 days to come into compliance or $50 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
Page 4, property address 741 Northeast 19th Ave, case number BE 25010002, owner Second Layer Equity LLC. Notice posted at the property on 3/19/25, posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard on 5/1/25.
Andrew Gebbia, Building Inspector for the city, presenting case and address as read. There are expired permits related to this property as stated in today's agenda. This case is not complied. These permits have not had their inspections and the permits are still expired. This property currently has a stop work order on it for demolition of the structure without an issued permit. The city is requesting the magistrate to find that the violations exist and to grant the property owner 35 days to come into compliance or $200 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
Property address 1507 Northwest 10th Place, case number BE 25010094, owner Randy Martinez Hernandez. Notice posted at the property on 3/13/25, posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard on 5/1/25.
Andrew Gebbia, Building Inspector for the city, presenting case and address as read. This property was cited for violation under FBC 2023-105.1, work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to metal fence and a steel carport. This case was opened on 1/10/2025. The inspection report was mailed on 1/21/2025, and the special magistrate notice was mailed on 3/5/2025. I arrived at this property on 1/17/2025. As I pulled in front of the house, I observed a brown horizontal metal fence with a sliding gate constructed in front of the house, and a brown metal fence on the east and west sides of the property constructed. There is also a metal carport constructed, steel poles holding up a gable sheet metal roof. I checked records for permits. There are no permits for this work completed. Currently, both fence and carport have pending permit applications submitted. The city is requesting the magistrate to find that the violations exist and to grant the property owner 63 days to come into compliance or $50 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
Moving on to page 5, property address 1930 East Sunrise Boulevard, owner Cordova Road LLC, case number BE 241-00177. Notice posted at the property on 3/21/25, posted at 1 East Borough Boulevard on 5/1/25.
Andrew Gebbia, building inspector for the city, presenting case and address as read. This property was cited for violation under 9-1D. Any violation of the Florida Building Code shall be a violation of this section and punishable as provided for in this section. FBC Plumbing, 8th edition, 2023, Chapter 10, Section 1003.3.1. A grease interceptor or automatic grease removal device shall be required to receive the drainage from fixtures and equipment with grease-laden waste located in the food preparation areas, absence of a grease trap. This case was opened on 10/29/24, and the inspection report was mailed on 11/5/24. Special magistrate notice was mailed on 2/7/2025. I arrived at this property, Burger Stop, to investigate the grease trap with the assistance of Plumbing Plans Examiner Lance Wilkinson on 10/30/2024. There was also a public works crew digging to expose the sewer lines, which were clogged with grease due to the fact that there is no grease trap inside of the restaurant. I have been in contact with the property manager and the owner of Burger Stop. I was informed that there is an existing underground grease trap at the rear of this strip mall, which we are currently trying to find out if in fact this grease trap is connected to Burger Stop. Sorry. The city is requesting that the magistrate find that these violations exist and to grant the property owner 126 days to come into compliance or a $50 fine, $50 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
At the bottom of page 5, property address 2023 Miami Road, 1-6, owner 2023 Miami Road LLC, case number BE 2412-0023. Notice posted at the property on 3/13/25. Notice posted at 1 East Borough Boulevard, 5/1/25.
Andrew Gebbia, building inspector for the city, presenting case and address as read. This property was cited for violation under FBC 2023-105.1, work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to door installation, 6 doors. This case was opened on 12/5/2024. The inspection report was mailed on 12/6/2025. The special magistrate notice was mailed on 2/7/2025. The case was opened on 12/5/2025, just for the record. I arrived at the property on 12/6/2025. I observed 6 new painted doors installed on the south side of the property. I checked records, and there is no permit on file for the door installation. There was a window permit for all the doors, for all the windows that were changed. This permit did not include the doors. The city is requesting the magistrate to find that the violations exist and to grant the property owner 63 days to come into compliance or $50 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
Moving on to page 6 at the bottom, property address 3110 Southwest 17th Street. Owner Abis Sayom and Ketia Amari. Case number BE 2502-0187. Notice posted at the property on 4/4/25. Notice posted at 1 East Borough Boulevard on 5/1/25.
Andrew Gebbia, building inspector for the city, presenting case and address as read. This property was cited for violation under Florida Building Code 2023-105.1, work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to bathroom and exterior door and renovated carport. This case was opened on 2/18/2025. The inspection report was not mailed. It went right to magistrate. This magistrate notice was mailed on 2/21/2025. This case originated by a complaint from the tenant that no longer lives at the property. The first complaint was the entrance door to the house that hits the entrance door to the finished carport. The carport renovation was permitted. I then met up with the owner, Katia. She invited me into the carport to inspect the two doors colliding, which created a fire hazard. Upon entry, I observed a bathroom installed that was not part of the permitted carport renovation. I explained to her that she will need to get a permit for the bathroom and correct the issue with the door due to the fact of it being a fire hazard. There is an application submitted for a bathroom permit, PLB-GEN 2504-0032. It is currently in permit intake. The city is requesting the magistrate to find that the violations exist and grant the property owner 126 days to come into compliance or $50 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
On page 7, Senior Inspector Jose Saragusti, property address 909 Breakers Ave, C-1, owner Breakers of Fort Lauderdale Condominium Association, case number BE 24110140. Notice posted at the property on 3/13/25, posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard on 5/1/25.
Inspector Saragusti, on behalf of the city, presenting the case as read. This property has been cited under Florida Building Code 2020, Section 105.3.2.1 for permit left to expire. Upgrade cellular equipment. The electrical permit is remain expired. The case was opened in November 22nd, 2024. Inspection report was mailed on December 12, 2024. Final notice was mailed on January 2nd, 2025. And notice of hearing was mailed on January 7, 2025. We don't have any contact with a property owner, but I received a call last week regarding this case, for the contractor, and we are asking the magistrate to find that the violation exists and grant the property owner 63 days to come in compliance or a fine of $100 per day thereafter.
So ordered.
At the bottom of page 7, property address 1000 Northwest 11th Place. Owner, Coretta Allen, case number BE 2407-0213. Notice posted at the property on 3/13/25, posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard on 5/1/25.
Inspector Saragusti, on behalf of the city, presenting the case as read. The property has been cited under Florida Building Code 2023, Section 105.1 for work without permit for complete renovation, structural, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. This case was opened in July 16, 2024. Inspection report was mailed on July 22nd, 2024. Final notice was mailed on December 10th, 2024. Notice of hearing was mailed on January 30th, 2025. No contact with the property owner until last week that I received a call from the new owner, and they are in the process to have the permit issued. We are asking the magistrate to find the violation exists and to grant the property owner 98 days to come into compliance or a fine of $50 per day thereafter.
So ordered.
Page 9, property address 2031 Northeast 52nd Street. Owner, Scott Sims. Case number BE 24100074. Notice posted at the property on 3/18/25, posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard on 5/1/25.
Tasha, I think in the page 8, we have the case in the middle.
Yes.
Is pending.
We didn't do that one?
They came and
Yes, I'm sorry, I accidentally marked it off. Okay. Page 8, property address 1680 Southwest 32nd Court. Owner, Magali Schreiber. Case number BE 24080245. Notice posted at the property on 4/4/25, posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard on 5/1/25.
Inspector Saragusti, on behalf of the city, presenting the case as read. This property has been cited under Florida Building Code 2023, Section 105.1 for work without permit. New doors, windows, and new PVC fence installed. The case was opened in August 20th, 2024. Inspection report was mailed on August 23, 2024. Final notice was mailed on September 27, 2024. Notice of hearing was mailed on January 30, 2025. I have no contact with the property owner and no permit issue for the washer and dryer, windows and doors. We are asking the magistrate to find that the violation exists, to grant the property owner 63 days to come into compliance, or $50 per day thereafter.
So ordered.
Moving on to page 9, property address 2031 Northeast 52nd Street, owner Scott Sempt, case number BE 241-00074, notice posted at the property on 3/18/25, posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard on 5/1/25.
Inspector Saragusti, on behalf of the city, presenting the case as read. This property has been cited under Florida Building Code 2023, Section 105.1 for work without permit, for garage door removed and new PVC fence. The case was opened in October 10th, 2024. Inspection report was mailed on August 7th, 2024. Final notice was mailed on September 25th, 2024. Notice of hearing was mailed on December 19, 2024. I have been in contact with the property owner and buildings permit are in process. Also the fence permit. We are asking the magistrate to find the violation exists and grant the property owner 63 days to come into compliance or a fine of $50 per day thereafter.
So ordered.
Moving on to page 10, property address 2666 Key Largo Lane, case number BE 241-00090, owner Buck Boyd Bauer, notice posted at the property on 3/27/25, posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard on 5/1/25.
Inspector Saragusti, on behalf of the city, presented the case as read. This property has been cited under Florida Building Code 2023, Section 105.1 for work without permit for structural, electrical, mechanical, and plumbing works. The case was opened on October 16, 2024. Inspection report was made on October 10, 2024. Final notice was mailed on December 10, 2024, and notice of hearing was made on February 5, 2024. I have not been in contact with the property owner until yesterday. There are permits in process, and we are asking the magistrate to find the violation exists and grant the property owner 63 days to come into compliance or a fine of $50 per day thereafter.
So ordered.
At the bottom of page 10, property address 2771 Southwest 2nd Street, 1-4, case number BE 24070-263, owner Miyok LLC, notice posted at the property on 4/3/25, posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard on 5/1/25.
Inspector Saragusti, on behalf of the city, presenting the case as read. This property has been cited under Florida Building Code 2023, Section 105.1 for work without permit for a new railing and AC units. The case was opened in July 19, 2024. Inspection report was made on July 2nd, 2024. Final notice was mailed on December 10th, 2024. And notice of hearing was mailed on March 5th, 2024. I have been in contact with the expediter and there are permits in review. For that, we are asking the magistrate to find the violation exists and grant the property owner 63 days to come into compliance or $50 per day thereafter.
So ordered.
Moving on to page 11, Senior Inspector Jorge Martinez, Property address 616 Southwest 17th Street. Case number BE 24090007. Owner Kyle Della Torre. Notice posted at the property on 4/1/25, posted at 1 East Borough Boulevard on 5/1/25.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, presenting case as read. 105.1, this building has been illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to: a new chicky hut. The city will request 126 days to comply or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
$126 and 50 days thereafter. Thank you. So ordered.
Page 12, property address 1200 Southwest 29th Street. Owner Manuel E. Ramos. Case number BE 24080209. Notice posted at the property on 4/8/25. Notice posted at 1 East Borough Boulevard on 5/1/25.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, presenting case as read. FBC 2023-105.1, this building has been illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to: a new fence. City will request 126 days to comply or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
Or how many, what's the dollar amount? I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
126 days or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
Thank you. So ordered.
Bottom of page 12, property address 1408 Northwest 5th Ave. Owner John Navarro, homestead exempted, Frederick Centera. Case number BE 24090115. Notice posted at the property on 3/13/25. Notice posted at 1 East Borough Boulevard on 5/1/25.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, presenting case as read. This building has been illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to: there's a shipping container on the back patio. The city will request 126 days to comply or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
Page 13, property address 1634 Northeast 4th Place. Case number BE 25020095. Owner Antoinette Goiga. Sorry. Notice posted at the property on 3/19/25. Posted at 1 East Borough Boulevard on 5/1/25.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, presenting case as read.
We have any pictures for this? Sorry. Oh, thank you.
FBC 2023-105.1, this building has been illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to: bathroom and kitchen remodel, mini splits, AC system, and recessed lights in the 4 units. The city will request 63 days to comply or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
Page 13 at the bottom, property address 2161 Northeast 56th Place. Owner Erica K. Haas. Case number BE 24020083. Notice posted at the property on 3/18/25. Posted at 1 East Borough Boulevard on 5/1/25.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, presenting case as read. Permits were left to expire as stated in today's agenda, and as of 5/13/2025 remain expired. The city is asking for the owner to come into compliance within the next 126 days or a fine of $50 per day thereafter.
So ordered.
Moving on to page 14, property address 2346 Southwest 17th Ave, 1-2. Owner Luis Ramos Guet. Case number BE 24070005. Notice posted at the property on 4/7/25. Notice posted at 1 East Borough Boulevard on 5/1/25.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, presenting case as read. Permits were left to expire as stated in today's agenda, and as of 5/13/2025 remain expired. The city is asking for the owner to come into compliance within the next 126 days or a fine of $50 per day thereafter.
So ordered.
Property address 2440 Northeast 25th Place. Owner Michael Bluen. Case number BE 2502-0084, notice posted at the property on 3/26/25, notice posted at 1 East Borough Boulevard on 5/1/25.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, presenting case as read, FBC 2023-105.1. This building has been illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to: kitchen and bathroom renovation. The city will request 126 days to comply or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
At the bottom of page 14, property address 2465 East Sunrise Boulevard, owner Car Luen Inc., case number BE 241-00147, notice posted at the property on 3/28/25, posted at 1 East Borough Boulevard on 5/1/25.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, presenting case as read, FBC 2023-105.1. This building has been illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to: there's a new garage door, bathroom and kitchen remodel, and recessed lights. The city will request 63 days to comply or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
So ordered. 63 and 50.
50.
Page 15, property address 3537 Galt Ocean Drive, owner 3537 Galt Ocean Drive LLC, case number BE 2501-0048, notice posted at the property on 3/18/25, posted at 1 East Borough Boulevard on 5/1/25.
Sorry, can you repeat? Can you repeat it?
3537 Galt Ocean.
Okay. Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, presenting case as read, FBC 2023-105.1. This building has been illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to: a storage structure in the alleyway, plumbing work, new door opening and new door, new CO2 equipment connection, new water heater, multiple freezers. The city will request 126 days to comply or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
I'm sorry, repeat that last.
126 days to comply or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
Mark, property address 777 Middle River Drive, owner 777 Middle River Drive LLC, case number BE 2409-0131, notice posted at the property on 3/26/25, notice posted at 1 East Borough Boulevard on 5/1/25.
Person Mark, Building Inspector for the city, presenting case and address as read. The property was cited for violation under Florida Building Code 105.1, work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to: the installation of a boat lift without the required permits. The case was opened 9/18/24. Inspection report mailed 9/19/24, and special magistrate notice mailed 2/5/25. The work at this location was given a stop work order. The city is requesting that the magistrate find that the violations exist and grant the property owner 126 days to come in compliance or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
Page 18 at the top, property address 829 Northwest 19th Ave, owner Holdings of RJ Seeds LLC, case number BE 2409-0003. Notice posted at the property on 3/13/25. Notice posted at 1 East Borough Boulevard on 5/1/25.
Preston Mark, Building Inspector for the city, presenting case and address as read. There are several expired permits related to this property, as stated in today's agenda. The case has not complied, and I have had no contact with the owner or contractor. The city is requesting that the violations exist. The city is requesting 126 days to comply, or $100 per day thereafter.
So ordered.
Property address 971 Southwest 31st Street. Owner Izaguirre Rosa Acosta. Homestead exempted Victor Hugo Rivera. Case number BE 2408-0231. Notice posted at the property on 4/1/25. Notice posted at 1 East Borough Boulevard on 5/1/25.
Person Mark, Building Inspector for the city, presenting case and address as read. The property was cited under Florida Building Code 47 under City Ordinance 47-19.2.EE, construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits, which included the utility structure or shed installed at the backyard of the property. There's also a second violation, Florida Building Code 105.1. This building was illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits, which included new driveway, pavers. The case was opened 8/19/2024, inspection report mailed 8/20/2024, and special magistrate notice mailed 3/5/2025. Our records show that no permits have been submitted as yet. As a result, the city is requesting that the magistrate find that the violations exist and grant the property owner 126 days to come in compliance or fine of $50 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
Page 18, property address 1010 Southwest 30th Street, 1-2, owner Tevin D. Gray, case number BE 24080279. Notice posted at the property on 4/8/25, posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard on 5/1/25.
Person marked Bill Inspector for the city presenting case and address is read. There are several expired permits related to this property. As stated in today's agenda, the case has not complied. We've also had no contact with the owner or contractor. The city is requesting 126 days to comply or fine of $100 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
Page 19, property address 1221 Southwest 29th Street, owner Marcus Vitale Jr., case number BE 24110146. Notice posted at the property on 4/8/25, posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard on 5/1/25.
Person marked Bill Inspector for the city presenting case and address is read. This property was cited under Florida Building Code 2023-105.1. The building has been illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to window and door replacement, interior model involving the kitchen and bathrooms. There's also a new deck installed without a permit. The case was opened 11/22/24. Inspection report mailed 11/25/24. Special magistrate notice mailed 2/21/2025. The city is requesting that the magistrate find that the violations exist and grant the property owner 126 days to come in compliance or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
Also on page 19, property address 1411 Southwest 24th Court, owner Kim Laughlin, Terrence L. Splett, case number BE 24090141. Notice posted at the property on 4/8/25, posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard on 5/1/25.
Person marked Bill Inspector for the city presenting case and address is read. The property was cited under violations Florida Building Code 111.1.1. The use and occupancy of this dwelling has been altered or changed from the original permitted position of a single-family residence to a multi-dwelling unit without obtaining the required permits or certificate of occupancy. There's also a second violation for Florida Building Code 2023-105.1, where the building was illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner. The lower level of the home was renovated into a separate living unit, including kitchen and bathrooms. The case was opened 9/20/2024. Inspection report mailed 9/25/2024, and special magistrate notice mailed 2/7/2025. I did speak with a contractor recently, and he indicated that he's in the process of submitting documentation to the chief zoning department of our department, zoning department, to obtain a confirmation as to whether the property can be converted to a multifamily unit. The city is requesting that the magistrate find that the violations exist, and grant the property owner 126 days to come in compliance or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
Page 20, property address 1640 Northeast 5th Court, 1-4, owner Jack Lombard, case number BE 24120008. Notice posted at the property on 3/19/25, posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard on 5/1/25.
Preston Markville, Inspector for the city presenting case and address is read. There are several expired permits related to this property, which involved the renovation of the interior of the property. The case has not complied. I spoke with Jack Lombard, the owner, who indicated that he has halted progress on this work due to financial constraint. He is in the process of submitting. There are several permits that currently he's considering to have reissued, but to date they're still expired. The city is requesting that the magistrate find the violations exist and grant the property owner 126 days to come in compliance or a fine of $100 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
Page 21, property address 1900 South Ocean Drive, 1105. Owner Natalie A. Rose, homestead exempted, Betty Rose Mitchell, case number BE 24080135. Notice posted at the property on 3/14/25. Notice posted at 1 East Royal Boulevard on 5/1/25.
President Mark Bill, Inspector for the City, presenting case and address as read. This property was cited for violation under Florida Building Code 2023, 105.1. The building has been illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permit. The building, there are 2 condo units where a firewall was cut to open up the units into one contiguous unit. The work also involved the removal of the kitchen and also the conversion of this kitchen into a walk-in closet with a vanity and sink. The case was opened 8/12/2024. Inspection report mailed 8/15/24, and special magistrate notice mailed 1/30/2025. Our records show that there are permits in process, one of which has been issued. However, there are still a number of questions from the board of this building as to whether or not the unification of the 2 units is legal. The city is requesting that the magistrate find that the violations exist and grant the property owner 126 days to come in compliance or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
Property address 2308 Southeast 18th Street. Owner Russ's Property LLC, case number BE 24120006. Notice posted at the property on 3/14/25, posted at 1 East Royal Boulevard on 5/1/25.
Person Mark Bill, Inspector for the City, presenting case and address as read. There are several expired permits related to this property. The case has not complied. We have had no contact with the owner or the contractor. The city is requesting 126 days to come in compliance or $100 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
Property address 2426 Key Largo Lane. Owner Anthony Maynella. Case number BE 24090021. Notice posted at the property on 3/27/25. Posted at 1 East Royal Boulevard, 5/1/25.
President Mark Bill, Inspector for the City, presenting case and address as read. This property was cited under violation Florida Building Code 105.1. This building has been illegally altered and the construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to the remodel of the kitchen, bathroom. There's also the installation of a new dock, boat dock and lift, a new enclosure, and windows and doors were replaced. The case was opened 9/4/2024. Inspection report mailed 9/4/2024, and special magistrate notice mailed 2/7/2025. The city is requesting that the magistrate find that the violations exist and grant the property owner 126 days to come in compliance or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
Moving on to page 22, property address 2500 Del Lago Drive. Owner Nicholas D. DiCello, case number BE 25010103. Notice posted at the property on 3/14/25, posted at 1 East Royal Boulevard on 5/1/25.
President Mark Bill, Inspector for the City, presenting case and address as read. The property was cited under Florida Building Code 105.1. This building has been altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner. but not limited to, alteration of an existing car wash business located on Broward Boulevard, which included plumbing, electrical, mechanical, and some structural work. The case was opened 11/19/2024. Inspection report mailed 11/20/2024. Oh, this one, sorry. Sorry. Preston Mark, Building Inspector for the city, presenting case and address as read. The permits are still expired, so the case is not in compliance. We spoke with the attorney, Mr. Michael De Leon, who indicated that he's in the process of having the permits voided as the work was abandoned by the contractor. The city's requesting 126 days to come in compliance, or $100 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
Property address 2700 West Broward Boulevard. Owner Car Wash West Broward Boulevard LLC, in care of Justin Landau and Jeffrey Karras. Case number BE 24110114. Notice posted at the property on 4/125. Notice posted at 1 East Broward Boulevard on 5/1.
It was cited under Florida Building Code 105.1. The building has been illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits. This involved the alteration of an existing car wash located on Broward Boulevard. This included plumbing, electrical, mechanical, and structural work. The case was opened 11/19/2024. Inspection report mailed 11/20/2024. And special magistrate notice mailed 2/21/2024. This property was issued a stop work order, and currently the permits are in process. The city is requesting that the magistrate find that the violations exist and grant the property owner 126 days to come in compliance, or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
Moving on to page 23, property address 2920 Center Ave, owner 2920 Center Beach Bungalow LLC, case number BE 250-10121. Notice posted at the property on 3/18/25, posted at 1 East Broward Boulevard on 5/125.
Preston Mark, Building Inspector for the city, presenting case and address as read. There were expired permits related to this property as stated in today's agenda. The case has not complied. Records show that there's a change in contractor in process, and hopefully this will then initiate the renewal of the expired permits. The city is requesting 126 days to come in compliance, or $100 a day thereafter.
So ordered.
Moving on to page 25, property address 1142 Seminole Drive 1A, owner T.E. Boswell and A.D. Boswell Revocable Trust, Terry E. Boswell trustees, and all others. Case number BE 24040191. This case was first heard on 10/17/24 to comply by 1/16/25. One section not complied at $50. The city is requesting to impose the full amount of $5,900, which continues to accrue.
Preston Mark, Building Inspector for the city, presenting case and address as read. The case is not in compliance. The required permits are still in process, but not yet issued. The city will support 91 days extension and sustain the fines.
So ordered.
Property address 1900 South Ocean Drive, owner Breakwater Towers Corp., case number BE 24080157. This case was first heard on 1/16/25 to comply by 3/20/25. One section not complied at $50. The city is requesting to impose the full amount of $2,750, which continues to accrue.
Preston Mark, Building Inspector for the city, presenting case and address as read. Although the permit BLD RMIS 240700509 has been issued, the case is not yet in compliance as we await the final completion of the work and a post-engineering inspection report for review. The city is requesting that the fines be imposed and continue to accrue.
So ordered.
Thank you.
Page 26, property address 1605 Northwest 11th Court, owner EC 2013 Investments, Inc., case number BE 00150. This case was first heard on 9/19/24 to comply by 11/21/24. One section complied at $50. Total accrued fines, $3,650. The city is requesting to reduce the administrative cost of $854.
So ordered.
Property address 1615 Northeast 9th Street, 1-2. Owner 1617 Northeast 9th Street, LLC. Case number BE 24050176. This case was first heard on 10/17/24 to comply by 1/16/25. One section not complied at $50. The city is requesting to impose the full amount of $11,800, which continues to accrue.
So ordered.
Page 29, property address 1115 Southwest 2nd Court, 1-5. Owner Optimal Health Pharmacy, LLC. Case number BE 24070111. This case was first heard on 1/16/25 to comply by 2/27/25. One section not complied at $100. The city is requesting to impose the full amount of $7,600, which continues to accrue.
So ordered.
Property address 1801 South Andrews Ave, owner 1801 Associates, LLC, case number BE 23090063. This case was first heard on 3/21/24 to comply by 9/17/24. One section not complied at $100. The city is requesting to vacate the order imposing fine from 4/17/25.
So ordered.
Page 30. Property address 2491 West 84 State Road. Case number CE 11082725. Owner Billy B. Richardson Livable Trust. This case was first heard on 1/15/15 to comply by 3/5/15. One section complied at $100. City is requesting to abate all fines.
So ordered.
Page 31. Property address 3401 Southwest 16th Street, case number BE 24070169. Owner Liza M. Del Castillo Lucas Nieto. This case was first heard on 1/16/25 to comply by 3/20/25. Fine suspended as noted. One section not complied at $50. This case was ordered to reappear. So we're just requesting to send it to Massey at this point.
Okay.
Page 35, property address 477 Southwest 1st Ave, owner MHJV Riverwalk LLC, case number BE 250300097. This is a citation case. This property was cited on 3/20/25 to comply by 3/20/25. One section complied at $5,000. Appeal deadline was 4/4/25. Appeal received 3/25/25. The city is requested to impose the $5,000. The parties were here earlier, and they spoke with Assistant Building Official Joe Pascarello as well as Inspector Holloway, and they had to leave, and they agreed that they're going to pay the $5,000.
Okay. Appeal denied.
At this time, Your Honor, we would like to have all the cases listed on page 36 into the record as closed, withdrawn, or rescheduled.
So ordered.
Thank you. This concludes our May 15, 2025 special magistrate hearing for the Building Division.
It was interesting.
It was